that one person.
goes away, but yeah, the thing is,
You do everything to get. Oh, okay.
so you gotta make sure
Fine.
you always wash your
Some
hands.
people don't do that.
I've heard they also have some shampoos for it as well.
I was just wanting to be great friends with them.
Yes.
Not exactly
For
spend
really
the
bad
rest of
case
my
of
life
cooties.
with them. Oh no, that would be crazy.
No, depends. I mean, depends on how much long you live. Depends how long they live.
Make sure he washes his hands
So
all
it's
the
not
time.
really forever.
As a person in a
Usually if they're romantic,
it becomes
you're flirting with them.
To class.
Romantic
Make him
relationship.
wash his hands
I
afterwards.
believe.
Yes, thankfully the
I
rain
remember
perhaps
reading
will wash its
something
cooties
about
away, but it might not be good
Is there
enough.
someone you like, Augusta?
Just bless the rains, you know, like.
Yeah.
Did you buy the caravan
I don't think so. I've been
Uh,
focusing on the important things here at the school.
Ah.
It was fun.
What about you?
Because you rarely see rain, so this rain is just...
Has anyone seen?
Not that
There
fun.
was, but I think I've given up.
It is fun.
Hi,
Little fun day and everything.
honey.
Right now.
I'm getting a fortune today. You can come and watch if you want. You're invited
Yes, I
No,
think
to my
the rain
fortune
is,
And
party.
you'll
the
find
main bit of the anger everyone felt
You know,
yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
go for
Right.
or what's on the outside.
Focus on myself and my combat skills. I need to be able to be precise.
Morning, Arbor.
In case-
Morning.
Good morning, Arbor.
You're right.
It's a bit of a rainy day, but I hope that doesn't dampen your spirits.
It's
like
not
the
my
rain.
spirits I'm worried about. The rain's actually kind of nice, but
You've always been a friend. I have a feeling you and I should.
Is there another concern?
No other.
yeah, my skin has a tendency to wash away when it gets too wet.
I see. Perhaps we'll have to get you some umbrellas or something.
That's an interesting...
Perhaps that would help.
Next time.
But thankfully, when you're inside, it should be okay.
My way of meditating.
What the hell?
Hmm.
Look at
Is Kari already awake, or?
She might still be sleeping, but I do believe she should be here today.
I don't know if she'll be able to
What do you think about this?
Kind of comfortable, but not too comfortable.
come out of her normal
Kind of conscious.
fish form.
Do you think she'd always be in her form because of the rain?
Yeah.
Well, that is quite the possibility, but she can finally show off her speed that she didn't get to show during placements. But today is just a bit of an off day, so the weekend, of course. So there's not too much planned. So thankfully, after yesterday's heated arguments, everyone needs a relaxing day every so often.
Hey, thanks, bro.
Yeah. It's always nice to take some time.
We should hang out later. Do something.
Yes, I do hope though that the rain doesn't wash away your skin today. I wasn't aware of such a situation where I would have prepared an umbrella for you.
It'll be fine, I'm sure. I'll just have to make sure I don't stand in the rain too long.
I don't know.
Yes,
You'd know.
there is always a library after all, and other areas on campus that you could be in the safety of the dryness.
Morning, Arbor. How are you? Morning. I mean, it's not the worst thing ever.
It's thankfully just a light drizzle, but
Yeah.
Right.
you wouldn't happen to have an umbrella, would you, Hannah?
A what?
In your luggage? An umbrella.
Not really. No, I didn't think
I
you'd
see.
be allowed them, to be honest.
Yes, yeah, of course. It's not that I'm not sure why an umbrella would be something that wouldn't get through, but unless you
think it was
perhaps
supposed to
hit a
pass
firearm
ice.
inside of it or a dagger. But
Nope. My firearms and weapons are all permitted.
Wait, is
Exactly.
that his actual head?
I didn't.
well, I think I think his hood would get quite wet, so he decided to put it down
Let's move
today.
on.
Wait 1 second.
They
told
seem
you
quite
they'd
taken
probably
aback
talk about
at
it.
your view. Well, of course, it is quite different.
Yes. Understandable.
You wouldn't happen to have an umbrella of any sort, would you? No. No. I don't think you carrying around one of the axes from the training arena would act too well as an umbrella, or else I would suggest that.
But you can't leave this side because rain have a negative effect on you.
My skin has a tendency to wash away when it gets too wet.
You want me to get you something? Well,
I don't really know what to do.
it's up to you.
Maybe if Kari wakes up today, she can do something. Cause she has magic. She can control water. Maybe she can help you.
Maybe. She should be on the pond. She's already
Well,
left.
she chose to sleep in the seas or the shoreline waters. Either way.
I understand you can't be around the rain. It will wash off.
Yeah.
I mean, we have had different forms of accessories being able to put a light force field around, playing off your mana.
I don't know if I have
Like a
one.
ring, a bracelet. We might be able to find you a temporary one, if you like. I could even put it, actually, we might be able to attach it to your barrette on your hair.
I don't think I'm wearing a
Uh,
beret.
base. Oh, the little bobby pins, are they, on the side of your hair? I'm not sure what they're called.
Oh, yeah, just regular hair clips.
Okay. Well, I can skip over to the castle, pick up a little enchantment, and then put it on your bobby pins there. It will just prevent, like, the water from splashing on you. So you're still going to feel all the elements. It just won't splash directly on you. Would that be okay?
I guess, sure.
Okay,
Anything
yeah,
so
until we get an
negative.
umbrella.
Thank you, Minerva. While you
Yeah,
take care of that, I'll
I-
continue to speak to the students here before we start today.
Alright, did you want me to ring the bell while we're over there, and then I'll come back and drop that off?
I do think it might be a bit too early. Today's just
No
a weekend
problem.
after all. We don't need to talk too much to them. So we can let the morning go a little bit longer.
Okay, I'll be right back then.
Thanks.
Yes, not to mention if we had to run over there, you would still have to go through the rain, so.
Yeah.
But she should be along here quickly. Hopefully that helps you. Because it does
Sorry
seem you're
about
missing
causing
quite a lot of interesting... no, it's our job to make sure everything works out for our students. After all. I'm sorry I was not aware of that.
Yeah, it's why I usually don't go in the water. At least not for very long. More than a couple minutes and it starts to wash away.
Yes. Well, maybe one day you can come up with a more permanent solution, but because I'm not sure what we can do long term.
Alright, may I see your hair for a moment?
I suppose, yes.
Sure.
Alright. Let me just see here.
I really want to.
Okay, I'm just gonna smooth it over.
For now.
Sorry. Didn't mean to pull on anything. There we go.
This is fine.
Alright, so this is just oh, haha. Sorry, I tripped. So that was just a little bit of gel that I took from one of the other pieces. So it will go over your barrette, and then it will repel all the rain, so it will kind of just like bounce off, so it won't be touching you. If it was raining any harder, or if you were submerged in water, it wouldn't work. You'd probably need an actual full-on bracelet that's been enchanted for the specific purpose, or a ring, any accessory of your choosing, even a necklace if you wanted to hide it underneath your collar. We can look into that later if you're comfortable. It all depends on you.
I hope that won't be necessary.
I don't think it's going to rain too much, but if you want to enjoy the water for a short time, for any reason, yeah, something more permanent, like similar to this watch, I guess.
Oh.
That might be a little bit more practical for someone such as yourself, a watch, or even a compass. It usually works the best in some type of accessory, so you can go for more practical as opposed to aesthetic, if that makes sense.
Oh, I suppose so.
Pocket watch, compass, wristwatch, even a little ring watch. Lots of different options for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just think about it for next time, and then we can work on getting one for you. And I guess we should probably ask the rest of the students maybe if there's any other issues with weather or anything that we might need to look into creating a trick in for.
Perhaps.
I mean,
so far, this seems to be the only one, but we will be, if you don't mind, if you can set a timer, if you could ring the bell in about 5 minutes, and we can have that mentioned in the speech for today.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure someone like Hannah, who is great at research, would love to look in the library with the professor, with the twins, try and find different options for different students.
Good morning, Kari.
Good morning,
How are you
Kari.
doing?
Oh. Hi, Kari.
I think she's going to be
no.
enjoying today quite a lot.
Oh no,
Yes,
we need
this
a
is the other student
trinket
that
for
might...
Kari. We need something for Kari as well.
I was gonna ask her to question.
Well, we could ask her first. She might
quite.
quite enjoy the rain. She is a fish, after all.
According to her paperwork, it could cause an issue.
Is today a safe day?
Can I speak with you inside? Maybe
Today is a
on
what
this,
is a
since you
safe
guys
day?
have like a
Is
similar
today a safe day?
possible issue.
Well, on this campus, we're all inside the barrier, so as long as you have protection such as the barrier, every day is a safe day.
I shall look.
Okay to go out in the rain?
Jeff seemed to be
With
Well,
the
laughing when he
paperwork that
said
you
it, so I'm
submitted,
assuming it-
I want to
Oh,
make
yes,
sure
I'm
that
sorry,
it's
childish
like you
mischief.
won't
That's
like
why I answered the way I did, because
fish.
I wanted to disappoint him.
Will the rain affect you, or is it just certain water?
What he truly means
You'll go
is,
fish?
that
Okay.
woman is dating, there are certain days during
Actually,
the
you
month,
have a little
that are
flower in
sacred
your
to
hair as a
these.
trinket as well. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna run back to the school, and I'm going to grab a little like potion, and we're going to put it on the gem. And what that will do is, as the water comes down, it's going to hit the barrier and bounce off. So you'll be fine for rain like this. But if there's ever rain that's more substantial, or if you want to go in water without transforming, you probably have to look into a more dedicated trinket. Anywhere from aesthetic like a ring or a bracelet, something more functional like a compass, a watch, pocket watch, wristwatch. We can look into that as well. But I'll go take care of that quick little thing now, and I'll come back and put it on you so you can actually get over to the school today, because we don't have any umbrellas.
Okay.
Okay, I will be right back. Thanks so much for your patience, ladies.
Like I said,
Ah.
protection of this force field every day is a safe
oh.
day. Yes,
Kari?
Because Kari will go fish.
Kari? Thanks for the raid, Sora.
Hi.
You okay?
Peachy.
That's good.
Peachy like a peach.
Like a peach. Yeah. Why don't we head back downstairs and wait for Miss Minerva? She put some salve on some of my hairpins here.
Yeah.
Here.
Do kind of a life lesson class someday.
Yes, we might have to, because sometimes
yes.
things are better coming from a woman than a man, after all.
Oh, it's always better coming from a woman. Anyway, I'll be right back. I'll go to school to get that potion.
Here. should be okay as long as you stay under here for now.
What if there's a wind?
It's not that windy yet. Just a little wet. That's all.
Yeah.
Hello, Kari. I have it when you're ready. I just have some of my. Let me just grab from my wallet. Let me see your little hair gem there. Alrighty. There. So that's going to act as a little force field. Like I said, the rain's just going to pounce off right now. So that's enough for the day. It's not raining hard enough that it will do anything. It should last actually probably just over 24 hours or more. So that way, if I'm not around, you don't have to worry about it wearing off. But yeah, if you want to, just let me know if you think it's something that's appropriate. We can look into some type of accessory that would assist you and be able to function out there, because even if you're in the field, you never know when it's going to rain, when you need to go on a mission or cross water, lakes, ponds, different things could come up. So a trinket such as that might actually come in handy when you're on missions that become unpredictable, or in a, allows you to take on missions that are outside your comfort zone to grow.
If I get better, I should be able to control it. I just can't yet. You've been trying really hard.
As long as you're doing your best, that's all I ask. But whenever you guys come up with an idea what you want to do or how you want to explore it, just let me know. It's all at your own pace. I want to make sure that when you do go out on missions, that you're comfortable in your own skin and your skin's also protected.
Yeah.
Good morning.
I don't
Good
exactly
morning, Hannah.
like to not have my skin.
Are you
Understandable.
susceptible to water?
Sort of, I guess. It's more of a comfort thing.
Okay. Good to know. I'll bring a pot show during winter. What? Oh, rainy trips. Good to know.
Oh. Let's see. The headmaster is going to address that as well
Arbor.
to see if there's any other difficulties that people may run into.
Oh.
Something you can
Hi, Rook.
incorporate and grow in.
Ovulating is a female-only thing.
Oh, she's female.
She's not human.
Can you ovulate? Not human.
She's a mostly human thing.
It's a mammal thing.
Oh, you're not a mammal. I was going to suggest maybe.
But yeah.
I was going to suggest that maybe to get Victor away, 'cause I know he tends to be following Melanie around to chase after you sometimes. Maybe ovulate so he runs away.
Wait a minute. What did you prefer?
What do you mean?
What?
I
What?
don't
Wait, never
understand.
mind. I'm not
don't
going to
know.
talk about that right now.
I was told men fear the ovulation.
I'm going to give you one hint. Look at me.
Only uneducated men fear it. If you actually know stuff about it, you're fine. Only cowards fear it.
Are you a coward?
Never mind. You'll get it eventually.
Yeah, only cowards fear that.
Chips,
There's nothing to be concerned about if you know the person well.
Oh.
Don't worry about it. Only the manliest of men can understand it. And the good ones bring you chocolate.
Or ice cream.
Chocolate ice cream.
Ice cream.
Exactly.
Headmaster 200 IQ.
With cookie dough.
Oh. And caramel springs.
I don't know any of those things.
And you sometimes
See.
buy them a cat.
Be afraid.
I'm so confused.
Tasted them once.
It's okay. It'll be okay.
Yes, sometimes buy them a cat.
Yeah. I mean, I know people who've pretended before just so they could get the different type of tummy ache from all the food they eat. Anyway,
wow, that's
I'm
a
going
totally
to,
different subject. I think that's what he's worried about.
Really confused.
Anyway, I'm going
But as
to,
I told the
I'm gonna
students,
head
as long
over
as you wear, as long as you're within protection, like a barrier, like we are, every day is the same.
I'm like 300 and plus years old. You're really gonna take it in.
Safety is always fun.
I
But it's
can't-
necessary. But it's necessary. I'm gonna
Yes,
go ahead to the
I do
classroom
agree
now.
there. I do agree there.
Don't eat the flowers.
Don't eat the flowers.
Eat the flowers.
That one wouldn't. It would just cause diarrhea for that one particularly. Are you having trouble going?
No God.
No.
Huge rise.
Esme, look at me, darling. Esme, look at me, darling. Look at me,
I'm
darling. Okay. This flower
really confused.
will make you poop your pants immediately.
Yes.
My pants. I don't even wear pants.
Your panties. It'll make you poop right away. So if you have a really bad stomach.
Okay. I'm just gonna walk away from that one.
I was.
Is this something you needed?
No, I was just.
Where's
I was
your
looking
hood?
around. Oh,
That's me,
It's
little
away.
dude. Don't mind me.
what the hell is happening?
No.
Ooh.
Stop.
If you're in between us again, I'm going to strip you.
No,
What is
by
up
all
with
means,
everyone
allow
today?
me.
Is the rain-
I would rather clothesline them with the blade. No, she's no. Don't worry.
Do you think?
No, I mean like this, not like this. This will just hurt a little bit. This will kill.
I mean, it will. Holding my tongue. Holding my tongue. I'm really good today. I'm really good today.
For eating the grass.
If it's
Um,
fine, what about the blue ones? What do the blue ones feel like?
The blue ones. The blue ones
You don't
are
just stop eating
Okay, the
our
purple ones are
vegetation
for
Oh,
for now.
Purple
Jay,
is for blue. Purple.
have you seen Lily or Xana yet today?
I have not, unfortunately.
Purple is for blue.
They're alright.
Blue is for you. Go
Same.
eat the blue ones.
They weren't.
Purple is for
They
blue.
weren't around the day
Blue
before
is for
either.
you.
Can I eat the tree?
I know.
Getting really
I
worried.
mean, are you? I don't know how you're going to eat
Me
that.
and you
but-
both.
Okay.
Listen, it's
By the way, you weren't here earlier either.
Hi.
You feeling better?
Hi.
Oh, yeah, yesterday
teach him how to
something
read
was
that.
up. I don't really know.
Fingers long enough.
It got really dark in the evening.
Hi.
I couldn't tell what
That
was going
really-
on. I was a little out of it. Like
You
getting
are
darker
scaring
didn't help.
me.
Huh.
Good morning, Victor.
What is she doing?
Well, I hope you're feeling better now, or
Well,
things are better.
She is trying to get the syrup inside the tree by
A bit
tapping
better
it.
today. I was a little
repetitively
worried
with her
about the
finger.
rain, but they gave me this salve to put on my hair clips. They
And
said it should
Rin
help
is eating grass.
repel the rain
What do
for
you
at least
want?
a
I'm not
day.
sure why.
What? Stop.
Well, that's good. I was worried.
Yeah, same.
I guess the rainy day is affecting people.
You seen where Hannah went? Oh, there she is. I see her.
You're okay.
I think.
Wait, did
Yeah.
you just eat the tree? Did you lick the tree?
I think it might just be us today.
Kari's here. Oh,
I see. Well,
Oh, have you seen Kari? I haven't seen Kari.
oh,
the tree is.
she was chasing Vevener.
Are you
Oh,
able to speak normally?
right there.
Oh, there she is.
Hi, here, come on, let's
And
go.
there she How goes. unfortunate. Jumping through the portal is not ideal. It really isn't. Don't yank my head.
Now that we're inside, you should notice that you're not getting rained on anymore.
Kari, Headmaster Karita, Arbor, perfect.
As you'll notice, we have new tables for everyone to help everyone converse better and give you more
Good
space.
thing.
But I can't take that too.
I've sat at this table. I have
Aw,
one at this table.
I enjoyed sitting next to Esme and
Far away.
well,
If I recall, I think you have a full team today, actually.
I think so. Wait.
So is it just
Rin,
company, Arbor?
a bit
Or
lonely
does
today,
that
it
still hurt
seems.
you? It's okay,
No, I
Mr.
actually, I don't usually feel it when
Oh,
it gets
well,
washed away.
That doesn't necessarily make it
I
okay
just
just
don't
because
really
one is
like it
used
when
to
that
something.
happens.
Okay, then yes, you do have it.
I'll keep that in mind
But
and try
you
to
shouldn't
do
have to
some
deal with
doing
it
that.
too long.
Yui
We'll be giving everyone free time here soon.
Huh?
Looks like Autumn
I
Vale
bet
today
you
is
still look
really
really
cool.
pretty.
Crystal Thorn, actually, Ardenvale would be them.
God, you know, they all do the same thing. They're all squads, whatever. You're fine. Crystal Thorn is not fine. There.
I thought sometimes the hood was a little too tight, but oh well.
Maybe it's the mask.
True, maybe the mask is too tight.
It's staying on.
It's done.
Yes.
Oh!
Excuse me. Pardon me.
Yep.
Yes.
I was thinking where I was going.
Yes. I think we still have a
Anybody
student or
from
two.
Crystal Thorn today? Yeah.
Yes,
can
I.
Becca.
We
You
were
said
trying
my
to get in
name, didn't
contact
you?
with some of them, but
Do you
I
want
said
to
the
put Rin in with
mask is stitched
another
on,
group
so
for
we'll
now,
be
so that way they're
closer.
not by themselves, or just
well,
an occasion where there's only one?
I know that makes sense from a
sort of,
loneliness
I suppose.
standpoint, but
I mean, after
we
the,
do have the tables here for a reason, to keep them separated.
Are you the only Crystal Thorn here
But I do
today?
understand your point of view. If anything, she should at least maybe sit on the other side of the table so she's closer to the other squad, so she has someone to chat with if she needs to. But today's only a weekday, so thankfully her whole squad does not need to be here. It's a weekend, I mean.
If you like, you can sit over here so you're closer to this squad, so you can talk if you like. Or sit closer to Ryder, whichever one you prefer. There you go. That way you're closer to Hannah and Arbor, so you guys can chit-chat after.
Why are
If
they
you need
talking
to.
about ovulation?
Please don't vomit in our new fancy table.
Started this.
I'll vomit on you.
I think they just want to, the term, be a little shit disturber.
It is normal. Most people just don't talk about it.
Yes, you can. Did you ate the grass? You ate the flowers.
Tell someone not to vomit.
Alright.
People are embarrassed about it.
Head to the bathroom then.
Oh.
You can't hold it any longer.
From what I gathered, yeah.
What is it?
It seems, or Esme just had to go to the restroom.
Ovulation
We're waiting
is
for chips
a
as well.
process or a step in the female reproduction cycle for, I guess, fish and mammals and other creatures, but most living creatures. I think all of them, and not all of them. Ones that reproduce sexually.
But like I said, Esme just went to the restroom.
I mean, most of my kind
Are
just,
you okay, Ryder?
you know,
Is the rain a bit more sensitive?
What?
do our thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Perhaps we'll have to get
The mills where I'm from carries books. There to help.
Are your ears still sore?
Diddy,
I'm
diddy.
about to grab something for in a
The
moment.
buckets, and then the eggs go in them, and then
Well, it
they
looks like
put them where
everyone's
they have
got
to
here,
go.
but the only one, we're just waiting for Esme to get back from the restroom. We just don't need to ring the bell anymore, so.
Okay, I think.
Get used to it, don't worry.
Where are your ears? A lot of things on the.
She well, it seems
That
Rick
is true.
got her to eat some flowers on the campus and
Don't worry.
caused her to get an upset
Just,
stomach. We told her not to eat them, but
I feel like this
she
is the first day,
she
but
also drank the sap from the
you guys
tree,
have
and we
heard it
told her
before, I
not to
believe.
do that either.
Well, yeah. The bill.
I'm not too sure. I mean, she ate the grass that causes diarrhea, and so it's probably something else.
She's a rock. Can a rock have kids?
I'm so confused.
Whenever there's rain and stuff in the air, it clears the, it allows sound and smells
Well,
to
she said
travel
it
with
was
them.
so
So that might.
Yes.
How often do I have to drink the thing?
You'll be fine for now.
Okay.
You only need it every once a week.
Okay, cool.
We have sensitive
Yeah, just-
days, I'm sure. Like normal people.
I guess we were missing food.
Things no one's killed my ears at this point. I've gotten used to my ears dying.
Well, I do want to ring the bell again for their attention, but I also don't want them to go.
I mean, I hear every conversation
try to
at
get
every
their
single table. You try and
I
live
can
with
do
that
that for you if you want.
If you'd like to get their attention, but yes.
Look, just go ahead and do it.
Excuse me, everybody. Can I have your eyes up front? We don't want to ring the bell again because
That's
someone's
a
ears
spirit.
are sensitive. Let's just get everybody everybody's eyes up front and put your hand up to let us know that you are paying attention, okay? Can I just get your attention up here? Put your hands up to let me know you're paying attention to the headmaster there. Perfect. So we don't have to ring the bell again.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Good.
Okay. Looks like we're good to go. Thanks for
All right,
cooperating,
everyone.
guys.
All right, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. As you can see, it's a bit damp out today, and sadly, it's also the weekend, so you might not be able to participate in any activities outside too much today for your weekend, but we do have the library and other things. And Rin, you can put your hand down. I do appreciate the enthusiasm, though.
Oh, yes, I did get those directions. That's my bad.
That is true. It's fine. If anything, she listened a little bit harder than everyone else, so that's fine. But of course, do be aware that if you're inside, that should help you stay out of the rain. As also, a lot of you are aware, yesterday we did have our first declaration of a duel. We'll be having that most likely within a week or so's time, and we will be opening it up so that people can start to have official duels. And you also witnessed there was a lot of heated arguments that day. Some words were said. And so because of this, we are going to be enacting the merit system. As you do know that if you guys get you get 3 demerits, you will get kicked out of the military. But to reward positive and good behavior, we are going to be enacting this merit system. It'll both benefit you personally, but also your squads. Basically, if an individual does 3 deeds that we deem worthy of a merit, which we will be calling seeds, once you have 3 seeds, you will earn a blossom, which you can use as a type of currency to purchase furniture or other types of goods for your dorm room. If your squad as a whole, each individual has 1 seed, meaning, for example, if Vanguard, everyone in Vanguard were to earn at least 1 seed each individually, your entire squad will be rewarded with a blossom, which will let you install things in your dorm, such as a pool table in the rec room area, and this would be only available and usable by squads that have earned that same privilege. So this is the merit system that we will be enacting starting tomorrow. But today is the weekend, so such a system is not fully enabled yet because not every student is here. We will most likely go over the merit system again once everyone is here for tomorrow. And with that, I do believe some students do have some plans for training with Vaughn, but otherwise, you are free for the rest of today, as it is just the weekend. You are dismissed.
Oh, the trinkets.
And don't pull my hair.
Well, you're talking about the also if
Look
any
at
students
those
are having any students are having difficulties with the rain.
I guess we've got the day to ourselves.
We have 2 students, for example, that transform because of the rain.
What you gonna do?
It's the weekend.
I don't know.
If any students have
Me neither.
issues like that, please
I want to do something fun. It's the weekend.
but otherwise you are dismissed.
No, I do
Will
not.
that work for you?
I bet you she goes to the library.
But I do believe we've already taken
Probably.
care of 2 students that had the worst of it.
She does spend most of her time there.
Gods, I hope not.
Sorry.
And now we
I've
just
only
start
had
the weekend.
1 pull my hair already.
See? I told you that would happen.
I'm guessing you're training with Professor Vaughn today, Ryder?
Hi.
No.
Every day. Keep doing it.
It was
Hi.
easy, but we covered a little bit of it. Because,
He gets it.
We had
Told her to
training.
eat
but
grass.
Speaking from experience.
I didn't tell her to eat grass.
Hi.
She
Esme
chose to eat
actually
grass.
ate the grass that caused the diarrhea, actually. Esme did it.
Oh.
And she also, yes,
She
and
probably
so
doesn't
she had to go to
digest
the restroom.
anyways.
Yes, they were very curious about how, but she seems to be able to eat
So
just
what you
fine.
playing for the rest of the
What
card?
an interesting spirit.
I know what they all do. I would never encourage
Would
She
you?
started eating a
I don't know
bush,
what
and
to
I
do.
for the sake of good training, right?
Yes, and
Sure.
Esme started poking a tree until sap came out, and then she licked it.
You're
and then
going
she
to
couldn't
keep what?
speak. Yes. What
Planning?
interesting students we have,
Big
particularly the
plans,
pink
Jay.
one.
Big plan.
Ooh,
Just
let me
big
in.
plans.
Where are they?
How are you feeling today, Jay? Your squad is much more has much more people today.
I know. It doesn't feel so lonely.
That's
It is
good.
kind of hard to talk to Hannah. All she does is want to read.
She
That's true.
She didn't even stay long
Well,
enough for us to.
No. No, she likes
Did you
to keep
fill your
to
squad in
herself.
on? Did you fill your squad in to let them know that you guys won 3rd place yesterday in the relay race?
Yeah. We won 3rd place even though
Yeah.
we had only 2 people.
You had 2 people and you had to alternate. Basically, we had each squad. Everyone would gather here in the main hall. I would command to run outside to touch a location or back, and then they would come back, tag someone, and they would do that 5 times to different locations on the map. And your squad got in 3rd place, actually. Vanguard ended up winning 1st place because of a technicality, but and then Ignis is in 2nd, and last was Crystal Thorn.
Very interesting race.
Yes.
Ooh.
It was fun, but very tiring.
Yeah, you guys did a good job.
I like
So what are your plans
exercises
for
like
the
that.
day?
See, we were just discussing that. We really don't know.
Yeah.
Well, to
You
keep
go
out of
to
the
the
rain, you could always go to the library.
I'm gonna
That might be better for your squad more than others.
The bug
Oh, you got a big plan?
I'm gonna talk to
Yeah, but she won't tell anybody.
I've got big plans. In a list.
Big plans, a big list of plans then.
But not for today.
Not for today, for
What
later.
do you and everyone else here? Double squad.
Ooh. Why do I have a feeling it could be a little mischief?
No.
You.
I would imagine that from the other squads more than this one.
Never you. No.
It's the best day ever plans.
Aw, that's
Ooh.
nice.
Team
I'm
bonding.
sure your squad will love
At
that.
its greatest.
This greatest. You
We're
know
gonna
what?
be so team bonded that everyone else is gonna go Gilly.
I was following until the very last word.
Gilly, like
They're going to get jelly?
Jelly.
Silly.
Gilly.
Gilly. Oh. All right. So you're going to bond better than all the other squads. I see.
Hi.
Can we help you with anything?
Excuse me.
You're just curious, I see. Trying to stay out of the rain.
Hi.
Hey, Esme. What's your plans for today?
Nothing.
No, we have all one
It is a
thing
pretty
in common, I
dreary day
guess.
after all.
Tell me if you need a
Could
neck
always
bucket.
They were all thinking about going to the library, I believe.
And she's off.
There's also the training arena. We do have weapons there. People can
Respect.
do stuff with.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is there something over there that's you're running into? Interesting. Ah. It seems that, yes, it seems that torches
It's
fell off the wall
haunted.
and something happened to it. I'll have to look into that later. We'll have to get the some renovations in here.
I mean, the crowds aren't that haunted.
So they are haunted?
Adding that to the list.
They're not that haunted, right, Headmaster?
Huh?
I don't think so. I mean, they could be from the spirits of the students that didn't make it. But
List. Haunted.
That sounds fun.
No, it's not that haunted.
I don't believe there's any haunting going on here.
Mm-mm.
You'd know better than us, wouldn't you?
Wouldn't I have a friend if there was a haunting?
I'm not sure if you could make friends with them, perhaps, but you seem to have plenty of friends already. You almost said that as if you don't have one. Plus,
No,
Pickwick
I
is a spirit
do.
as well.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah, we're your friend.
4, 5.
There you go. Ish. Oh, that didn't sound too good, but you'll work on it.
You and you?
No, him, just me.
Ish.
I'm just kidding.
And Ish, I see.
Ish.
Well,
I'm gonna go
the thing about the word ish is
Okay, I bet you
if you
so.
rearrange the letters and add a T,
Yeah,
it becomes
library.
shit. So keep that in mind. But hopefully you can solve the issue before the T gets added.
Some days.
So some days he's quite
Oh.
ish, I see.
And someday, oh, that is interesting. Hmm. I wonder what Rin's plans for the day are.
Not
I don't
too
know.
sure.
She's all alone, isn't
Do you want
she?
to go to the library?
If I recall,
Guess we're all going to the
You wanna go?
library.
Yeah, let's go to the library.
Let's all go.
Seems like
Nothing about
everybody's
it.
going there.
Oh, okay. Well, we
let's
can
go.
find a secret spot.
Ooh, do you have one in mind?
Nope, but I will try and find one.
Okay.
Okay,
Lead that.
let's go.
it seems everyone today has been in quite an interesting mood because of the raid. They are asking questions about
Shortcut?
living in safer days.
Oh yes, the library shortcut. You guys weren't here to see that.
I might as well fill you in now. During the speech, I was explaining that we now have a merit.
Yeah?
Okay. Me and
Wait, are you
Arbor
talking
will
about
teach you.
jumping off? Well, I did that for relays yesterday. I missed.
Okay, we're just taking a shortcut.
To the library, yes. I was actually heading over there now. I never thought to take the shortcut, actually. It's the whole jumping in high heels. I don't think the fall would crack you or hurt you. If it would have broken Jay's feetsies.
I'm not
There's a
gonna
little bit
take
of
a risk. I'd rather not
wanna go
take
the
a
long
risk.
way with
I might
me?
actually crush you if I were to land
Fine.
on you. I'm pretty heavy. Being a rock.
Do you
and
want to
all.
go the long way round?
I'll meet you there, guys. Sorry.
I'll go the long way round with you.
I'll meet her there.
Okay.
Deeds they are saying that I am giving everyone.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, I was just noticing
Yes.
the nice.
Time.
Yes, but one thing you'll notice is whoever decided to install these tables.
Hi, Augusta. A bunch of us are heading over to the library if you want to join. We're heading to the library if you want to join. There we go. How are you guys getting along? They're just on their way.
Okay, Victor, you're first.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Arbor.
Take the book.
What's it titled?
I can't read. Just read a sentence.
You can't read?
Wait, how are you gonna...
Kind of. Kind of looks like
This is your
scribbles
game, and you can't
circles.
read.
Just
Wait,
read
how
the
you-
sentence.
Can
does it
you read that?
Sure.
Where someone reads a sentence from the book, and then the next person reads the next sentence.
I can read that.
The man begins to pull out his knife. Then afterwards throwing it at his opponent. But then suddenly, a dragon
let me read it.
appears from out of nowhere. And the dragon eats said man.
It's a long
The
sentence.
Yeah, that's a lot
The
of.
woman cried. Blood gushing out of the dragon's mouth.
It's still really dark.
Okay.
What kind of book did
Let
you
me try.
say?
He's
Are you sure you can read that?
Here, let me go up
course.
ahead a little bit.
It looks like
Here we go.
hieroglyphics.
Here we go. I can read this.
Well, it isn't that different from demon writing.
Ready? Oh, I'm gonna read.
Okay, ready.
The young vampire looks at the high elf in the bedroom.
The sentence?
Keep reading.
Yes. Their sweat making their clothes cling to their body as they look at each other.
Alright, okay, alright then.
Okay,
Alright.
my turn. I want to read.
What kind of book is this?
The dragon wasn't a dragon, it was a cute marshmallow bunny.
What are we hitting? What?
And the cute marshmallow bunny
Are we
is
hitting
a
someone?
fairy, and the fairy
No.
I am
and
I think he wants you to hit
the
him.
vampire
very
and
confused.
the high
How
elf
the hell do you want that?
be together
Weird book.
forever.
Give me that.
Alright, bye.
You read the next.
Do you mind? I'm just gonna.
What are they doing?
Is that a romance novel?
They stood together above the moonlight vista.
You're joking.
The light from the moon shining down upon the couple.
Ooh.
Next sentence.
Okay. Well, keep on going. Look deep in her eyes. And
no.
then,
His
forward.
eyes is a guy.
His eyes.
Yeah,
Don't-
the
are you
In his
telling-
eyes.
And what is it you were reading, Jay?
A sentence from a book. I don't even know what kind of book. It apparently has some wrong.
Don't tell me that's what I
And what's
think it
the
is.
I think they found
that
it, and we
Connor's
can
book?
finally dispose of it.
Uh,
Is this the Kama Sutra?
No, I
Give
don't
me
know.
that.
I can't.
I like that. I like that book.
We'll be taking this. Vaughn, would you like to dispose of this?
really
I will
weird.
dispose of that in kind, thank you very much.
We were reading
What is he reading? And what is the book called?
I don't think that makes it any better.
It's called Confessions of a Mad Elf, Volume 1.
Love.
Well, let me give you a lesson of destroying books, Volume 1. Take it outside and cut it to fucking bits.
Thank goodness.
It seems our librarian Alex was bringing in books he shouldn't have.
I'm gonna go beat something up before I.
Don't tell him we're on Volume 2. Keep your mouth shut, T.
What about this one?
I'm right here.
They are a little secret.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Now what is that?
And-
Grab the book.
And if introduced to the bloodstream, it causes.
They've also.
Hands like this,
I don't.
and then you go like this, and you run off like this.
Don't eat
It
anything
bonds
in
to the
this damn
hemoglobin
building. Understood?
and slowly will cause.
I found all the stuff I can eat here.
Never mind.
No one can tell you what and what not to eat except me and Headmaster. Understood?
I was talking.
God.
Hey,
Yeah, there's
you know,
quite a few of
Professor, I'd like to
those.
get my fortune.
Oh, Victor, Ryder, we're
Have fun
reading.
with that.
And Arbor, we're reading upstairs.
Okay.
But sadly, it
Okay.
does seem that the Kama Sutra is still at large, and we must
Still
find it.
looking as dreadful as
Kama
you
Sutra? I don't even know what that is. Rook? Oh, there you are.
We're doing reading time.
Oh, are we still playing that game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could play another game. I know another game called Telephone.
I mean, I kind of liked that one. It was just a little weird. I think that book you found
Ryder.
was a little.
Oh, we got
odd.
volume 2. We got volume 2.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of have to locate.
I wish to know what happens between the elf and the vampire.
What? Oh, let me. Apparently, in the last book, they got married.
Oh.
Do they have babies?
Oh, they're both male.
Well, maybe they have an egg or something. Like the dragon gave them a magic
worry about
egg or something.
Well, in the words of my ancestors
All
before
we
me.
have to find out in this book.
Okay.
What's that book?
It's about how to make
Is it volume 2? Because I was already told about that.
We just want to know what happened with the vampire and the high elf.
Let me see it. No, I will commence the burning of the books, volume 2.
Can you read? Can you read it? Can you read it?
Can you read it? Can you read it?
Actually, my mask is a little foggy.
I gotta do something.
Oh.
Hold on, I need this.
Okay, well, I guess we can play telephone.
I heard. I read some. I read some lines from the volume 2.
You.
What did it say? What did it say?
Oh, in the volume 2, it said, oh, they were married, but a giant black bird came between them.
Oh, I really wanted to read it.
Was it a big bird?
Yes.
Was it a nice bird?
Damn it! I need volume 3. It sucks. I heard they only have 2 volumes in this
I'm gonna
library.
go look for another one.
Okay.
Okay.
So so what are these stories that we're reading? They're not really educational.
Sound like love stories. They're
Yeah.
for entertainment.
Entertainment.
Love.
Here.
Yeah, it's a love story that's.
Uh.
It's supposed to say love isn't impossible, but capable.
Okay, I found another one. Let's see. According to all known laws of the universe, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground.
I read this. I think I also read that book. Was it written by a man named Barry B. Benson, by chance?
Oh, yeah. I guess you have read this one.
Was the illustrator, by chance, Tom Seinfeld?
Is there something about jazz in there?
Oh, yeah. Co-written by.
What is the book, Vaughn?
I lost. I don't know.
Maybe we should pick a different one if he's already read it. He already knows what's gonna happen.
Yes, in fact, I've seen the whole reading of the book on one page once. It was quite annoying.
I'll grab one.
Alright. Go ahead.
What about this one?
Damn it. You really shouldn't have burned those other books. They were really good.
Okay, I found the book.
Not an upgrade.
Mating. It starts with the female organs and the male organs. Can I continue?
I'm just gonna...
We're already through the gate, and we're already down the path. Might as well keep walking.
I see they're reading it still, aren't they?
It's,
First, the male performs some saucy dance to the female to seduce her.
Grab it. I'll take that. Thank you.
Yes, please do. You beat me to it. All right, stay tuned for volume 3
I want to
of
actually
the
read
burning.
the most story.
There better not be a volume 3.
What am I hearing? Why are you laughing?
Yes.
Now that we've been squatted, have you left
You want to go
for training?
Yes, you can use your weapons for training. I think I heard you, but everyone's laughing quite a lot. Was that your question? Yes, you can. In fact, if you would like,
And every
one can
time
even
we
take you
read
to
one,
the arena, and, or you can
Professor
do
keeps
so on your
burning
own.
them.
Perhaps I'll come over there and.
In the library.
Anyone else is
cannot
like,
Why do you keep
Does
finding
does
them?
anyone else want to go and use your weapons at the training arena? You have permission.
No,
of
I'll tell
course.
you what happens next. Everything gets burned because I keep on.
I will bind.
Because there's only so many things more cursed than me.
No, the librarian's not supposed to order those types of books. But he seems to be doing it anyway and wasting our tax money.
I like the librarian.
Also, next, I just hope he didn't get that.
I'm trying to keep it wholesome, guys.
100 Shades of Grey book.
Like this one?
I hope they don't have that in here.
Twice as
Yeah, that's twice as bad. Twice as bad.
Wait, is this
So
one?
if you will,
Oh, you know it's already. Actually,
I'll take that.
Can somebody?
Would you like to dispose of this one as well? No, that's 100. That would be 100 Shades of Grey.
White.
Oh, volume 100.
Yes, your Hellfire is about to
there's-
give it 100 Shades of fucked up. I hope. Did you guys just go around collecting every naughty book you freaking could?
We just grab a
I
random
think yes, we did.
It was us, man.
What is it?
I never.
I'm more curious how she
I
understood which ones were
never.
naughty just from the cover.
What is it?
I never. I can't read.
Esme, what is this book? Why did you hand it to me?
Need.
That is
She can't
100
read it.
Shades of White.
Yeah, she just keeps
Oh.
grabbing them off the shelf.
That one sounds. That actually sounds
the
quite
sentence.
innocent. Actually,
If, like,
it was
a good,
about
like,
Wait, what's
nuns,
it
if I
called?
recall.
I wanted like
100 Shades of
like
White.
fantasy, like I don't know, like a film or something, or like a book.
I think that one's
All right.
okay.
Read the book. Let's see what it says.
What's this?
So it's just not
first
100
one?
Shades of Black.
Oh, that
I
was
like
over
that
there.
one.
That one's pretty.
Hold on.
That one's from Hellscape, if I
I
recall.
read that one at home.
You are a
Just
very
away from
interesting
therapy, yeah. So I want
spirit.
to like round it, like bring it back. God bless Curry, Jesus Christ.
Esme, I'm just
What are good fantasy films?
I can't.
She must be a spirit of innocence because somehow she still is able to talk like that after reading such a book.
Esme, you can read it.
Here.
I like to read the book at night.
Is this how you knew about showing your ankles earlier? Is this where you learned this from?
Don't talk about that. You can't talk about ankles.
You're the one telling Becca to climb up the ladder
Do I need
when
to roll up? Do I roll,
Trying to
need to
impress
roll
a
up
guy
my
to show
socks
your
right now to
ankle.
show you? You can show your ankles.
Let's not show your ankles, please.
Fine, have a try. Well, we showed
I
enough
don't
skin
get
for it.
this. I actually don't.
Look, I don't understand. But this is great. I'm loving
You
this.
understand it fully well,
I know
but
I
you're
don't.
laughing.
Look, I have seen plenty of shit down in hell, alright? The succubus and incubus are freaky fucks.
You
I
are
hate the books that
suckers.
have
You
been
suck.
Yes, they are. And I've also seen a man take a coconut in the you-know-what.
I've
And
seen a
Mason Jar
lot
as
of
well.
stuff, actually, once, but I don't want to talk about that.
I don't want to talk about
Why
it.
a coconut? Where's
Yes.
a coconut from?
Ryder,
From a
If you
tree,
knew who
that's
it-
a coconut
yes.
tree.
Yes.
I don't know
I think you
why.
should-
I can. Here, we're just gonna like.
You know, you really don't need to know, so...
You don't.
Some things are better left unknown.
Yes,
When he
like,
says, you know what? I
like
don't know.
honestly.
Perhaps we can, maybe during biology class.
Here, I'll give you a rundown of what he means.
Actually, I do
That's
think
something that
there
means
is a
that.
book in here. Perhaps one day the librarian can read it to you. I think it's called Everybody Poops. That might be a good book for Brooke
It's
to
better
read.
you probably didn't read the book or anyone really.
I didn't know they had a
Ryder.
book
We need
like
to give
that.
Ryder, like,
Yes.
They do, but
education.
it might be
You're
good for
talking
Brooke.
about the hooly hooly hole, just like Esme said.
Yes, perhaps.
Am I allowed? I know I may not be allowed to, but can I put in my 2 weeks, please?
I mean,
Here.
you're putting in your resignation, sure. I accept.
I think it actually means
Yes, Ren?
something if
Yes, Ren?
hell is better than this.
Yes, Ren? It looks like Rin is about to get her fortune and you're invited. She's trying to get your attention.
God, anything's better than what they're doing right now. Too much.
Well,
They found some naughty books and we had to burn them.
Look, I'm just saying.
100 Shades of Grey.
It has to mean something if I'm willing to go back to hell to avoid all that.
Yes, well, we're following. Her fortune will be upstairs.
Let's go.
Where are we going? I'm alright, don't worry. I'm alright. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
I ran into the
My
wall.
fucking eyes.
Sorry.
I can't
Over this way. This way.
Hang on. Alright, I'm coming that way now.
I'm trying, but OBR drop is broken.
Teleporter.
I can't see shit.
Reset that.
Follow the voice. Just walk forward. You'll be fine.
I broke it. Ah! Here I am trying to do something wholesome and everybody runs away.
Give me a moment. Give me a moment.
I did find this other book.
Oh,
In
we
your
can read
present
it together
position,
later.
Yeah.
right now,
Okay, we'll do it later.
you're
I
looking
thought
at
maybe I
all
could
that
read
you've
it to you
done
guys. This one seems kind of
and
interesting.
Judging yourself and
And
assessing
not
yourself.
quite as confusing.
And right now, you feel as
What
though
is the
you've
book?
done a really, really good job at not only supporting yourself, but supporting others. And that is your
It says it's the
present
Protectors of the
position.
Ring.
And that's your present. Second was your present.
Okay, that could really mean a few things, but I'm going to go on a limb and say, who's the
Cats
author?
or dogs?
I killed one once and it's a mistake, but I
JL
to
Token?
Oh, yes, that's fine, that's fine.
So
Okay.
this is what
Thank
you
goodness.
expect. Pick a card. What you expect currently is that by doing well, after evaluating yourself and realize you've done a good job, what you expect is to get reward for all the good that you've done. Not necessarily in a negative way, I guess you could say, but reward in a sense of more friendship from others. Maybe even more cookies.
As Magic, I have that book.
So that's what you
I'm gonna try and
presently
like swap names of
And
things.
number 3, this is what you don't
I gotta
expect.
come up with a name.
You don't know when it's gonna
for
come.
Frodo
You
and a
don't
name
know where
for
it's gonna
Mary.
come, but it's gonna
Mason-
happen.
or,
and it's gonna come at a time when
Mary
you
and
don't
Sam.
expect
God
it.
bless. I gotta come up with so many names.
So, do you like beaches or snowy mountains?
Beaches, because I get to wear a swimsuit.
Pick a card.
Oh,
So this
that
is what
was
you
not
don't
what I
expect.
wanted to do.
This
shit.
should probably come after you've
just
received your
do
reward.
this.
Reward
This will be
for, I guess again,
Breaks when you try and do something
assessing
odd.
yourself and finding yourself to be a really good teammate. What your reward will be something that will allow you to, I guess, feel more comfortable with where you're at and allow you to grow your relationships beyond what they already are. Yes, so your relationships will deepen, and then that will provide new perspectives on life through other people. Since, in a sense, you'll be so close to them, you'll be able to see through their eyes, I guess you could say. And so that's going to come at a time when you don't expect it. We're almost done. So number 4. This is your immediate future, and so it could happen now. It could happen later. It could happen. It's going to happen so soon, kind of. So your immediate
Maybe I can
future.
come up with like a different book.
If you had
Maybe I
to
can find one that's easier to like flip through the pages.
if you had to choose between everything for yourself or everything for others, what would you choose?
What's the everything? What do you mean everything?
What do you feel the everything to be?
Happiness. No, and love. Yeah, no, happiness and love. Both of those.
Okay. Would you want to give it to others or keep it to yourself?
I want to give it to everyone.
And so, pick a card.
This one.
In your immediate future, you will be able to proceed down many good routes, very many positive routes, routes that will take you to where you want to go and give you, I guess, the end goal that you desire. And these routes you will see through the eyes of other people, which you've grown close to. And these routes will lead you to becoming complete. And that is your immediate future. And then now for your long-term future. This one's the most important. So you better make it count. And it's the hardest question too. Okay. If you could stay in one place forever and never ever leave,
Alright, we'll just
where
say
would it
that
be?
Arbor wasn't really paying attention to the thing, because, to be honest, I wasn't really paying attention.
Because all my friends are here.
Pick your card. This is your last card.
That one.
In your long-term future, through your goals and accomplishments and your strong bonds with others, you will gain, I guess, a high sense of enlightenment, and you will become very wise in your own respect. And farther into your years, this knowledge and this ability to stay calm and see through others will give you, I guess you could say, wisdom beyond even your many years. And
Like a simple book.
Ow.
Are you okay?
Are you okay? You have been doing a lot of fortunes lately.
Another card wants to speak to you. This doesn't happen too often. Ow, ow, ow.
We can stop if you want.
No, it won't stop.
Stopping might be bad. She might have to let it out.
Let her.
What did I do? I didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything. Don't worry.
Let her draw the card.
Just let her finish.
Let her draw the card. Sucker. Pick a card.
Pick a
Pick a card, Rin.
No, she can't. It's just.
She can't. It's already chose itself.
Yeah, it really wants to speak to her. Are you sure? You don't have to listen if you don't want to. Rin.
No, it's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah. You can do it.
It says. Are you sure you still want? You can not listen right now, and that's
No, say it.
It says, I joined you when your journey began. I will be there in the end. I escorted many before you.
Oh my gosh, wait.
And I'm neither enemy nor friend. I'm sorry, that doesn't.
What does that? What does that mean? What card was it?
You okay? The card says it doesn't want it to tell you, but it needed to talk to you.
Interesting.
Okay, Sucker.
Should go.
Yeah. Doesn't.
Perhaps you should hold off on the fortunes for a while to recover.
Yeah, it doesn't usually do that.
Well.
gotta go. I got a friend waiting for me. Anyways, we were gonna. Yeah.
Please take care of yourself, okay?
Please take care of yourself.
A little late to the party there, Hannah.
It seems that she is a bit in a rush.
Just a reading.
Does anybody know what exactly just happened?
Well,
Well, after her
She wants to
fortune, there was
read
a
that book?
card in particular, which she will not name, that needed to
I mean, yeah,
tell
I
her
started
something.
reading it a little bit.
Perhaps it meant something more to Rin than it did to us,
It
but
seems kind of interesting.
it did sound
Maybe
quite
we should go
ominous,
downstairs
after
and
all.
read it?
Maybe.
Which is the danger of fortunes.
we should proceed to the bottom.
Let's go.
See, to the what?
Marvelous.
Oh!
Even if there
Okay.
wasn't any gravity control,
No, I ain't trying it.
I've jumped from places like that before.
It'd be still pretty bad for your knees. A
It'd be as far as I
superhero
jump right
ending,
there.
if you will.
Exactly.
Are we doing the book reading thing again?
What a great day. we've had so far.
Yeah, I was looking through some of the other books
Well,
and I
it,
found one
was
that seems
interesting
kind of
so
interesting.
far.
It's called One True
I'm
Love.
glad you guys found so many naughty
It says
books
it's
right
by
now.
Melinda Lowe.
Yes, that's
Because we keep
Hmm,
all the
I've
students keep getting
never
more
heard
and
of
more
them before.
questions these days. Today I
Me
was
Neither
neither.
have I.
ovulation and safe days. The students are getting
Okay,
quite curious
let's read
about
it.
things, and I was
Mhm.
wondering where this was coming from.
I think Viv might have something to do with it.
Sorry, I had to
I'm
sneeze.
not surprised.
Bless you.
Well, I think Chips is just as curious for some reason.
Yeah, him. Yeah, him
Oh.
totally him.
Seems to start out kind of sad though.
Anywho, I'm gonna move around.
Oh, that doesn't
As
sound
will I.
good.
But it says it's a love story, right?
I read a love story
Somehow
where
I've landed in a tree.
everybody died, and
How was that a love story?
well,
I don't
it
know.
was like they love each other, but they couldn't be together, and the girl
The thing
thought
here in the back
sh-
says,
the guy was dead, so then she was like,
I see.
"Oh, okay, I'm going to just dead myself."
It's a good book.
And then he's like, "Oh no, she's actually dead," and so he dead himself, and
That is
happily
good
ever
for your
after.
feedback, girl. Hopefully Ryder will.
That,
Perhaps you should show that to Ryder.
that sounds
It would
terrible.
help his
Not happy.
it says here, in One True Love, a little princess is born in the midst of tragedy. Even worse, a prophecy at her birth foretells that if she ever finds an elusive one true love, it shall be the downfall of a king. If you've ever read a princess story before, you already know
Sorry.
that prophecies are not so easily prevented.
Hmm.
I thought maybe it would be interesting. I could look again.
That is really interesting, though. I don't think I've read something like that.
It says it's
I sure haven't.
issue 93. It's a short story, I think.
Oh. Okay, then let's read it. Maybe
The others would
find some
like.
others.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go look. Hi, Rick. You want to read with us?
Sure.
And it's not a naughty book.
At least I don't think it is. It says it's just a short story.
Okay,
Short
sure.
story about what?
We can sit down. It's like a book club.
Okay.
Love and Prophecies.
Love and Prophecy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
here. If the others want to come, I'm more than happy to read it. I don't usually have the opportunity to read to people.
Where are
Normally
the
I
others?
just read by myself.
They all
I don't
kind of
know.
left.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should go
excuse me.
look. I'll help.
Yeah, we could
Okay.
go look for them.
Okay, let's go look.
they didn't already leave.
Mm.
Oh, actually, I probably shouldn't take this outside.
Mm-mm.
Hmm? I guess I'll just wait for Esme.
Mm.
So how have you been, Rook? I haven't really
I've been
talked to
good.
you much in the past day or two.
I've been alright. How have you been?
You know, pretty good, I guess. Yesterday was a bit of a struggle, but I feel okay today. It's a little dim for my liking, but I don't feel super tired yet.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Maybe I should go look for them?
It's up to you. I'm gonna read this book here.
Here, do you mind if I leave this with you then? I can't take it outside with it raining. Thanks. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll be here.
Oh.
We'll decide that.
Of course. Who else other
Just
than the
make
headmaster and the
sure-
professors?
Make sure you don't land within the final part. The cut. And you should be fine. But you need to work on controlling yourself. Or you're not leading anybody.
You guys don't understand what I'm capable of. But you'll see.
Oh, I am. I am totally understanding all of this.
How?
Do you not
Tell me then, please. Enlighten
I've seen
me on
your
what
kind
I am
time
capable
and
of.
time again. You can't control your mind, can't control your feelings. How can you hope to control magic?
You don't know
It's a
anything
rhetorical
about me.
question.
You can assume all you want.
You seem to think you know everything about everyone at this school,
Huh?
yet when we say we know things about you, you throw
never
that
said
back at us.
I said I'm
You
You're
say
looking
know
pretty
everything about this
frosty.
school.
You okay?
And where do you get this information?
Yeah, we
Is it
were
because your
training.
mother whipped you into shape
Oh,
in a
that was
school
good.
somewhere? Is that why you think
Yeah.
you're better than everyone else?
What's
We got permission
Where
to
do you
use
get
her.
this information, if I may ask? Did you help recruit the
She went to
staff, and
dorms,
did
but
you
she
help
should.
recruit,
She was
the
looking for
every
you.
student that we-
She should still be.
Okay, I'll find her.
Hi.
Oh, Specca was looking for.
Becca, I was told she went back here.
Oh?
She's right there!
Ta-da!
Rendezvous!
Becca.
Yeah. What?
Rendezvous.
Yeah, I went to the rendezvous. Yeah, we're here now. That's so lit. Okay, it's just, that's reconnaissance.
Okay.
Rendezvous
to the rendezvous!
Rendezvous to the rendezvous!
I was wondering
don't
where everyone else
understand.
went.
We all
Everybody
came
kind of left the
here.
library.
Yeah.
Hey! Why you
Hi,
put me
how
on the
is that?
spot?
I'll fix it. You stay here, okay?
What? No, what are you fixing? It's
I guess I should head to the
Ryder,
track and run a little bit.
Ryder.
No, it's fine.
I
It's
think
fine.
what he's trying to say by combat partners is that he wants to sword fight.
No. I do not have my weapon, so unfortunately, I cannot do that.
It's fine. He agreed to be a part. Help me train.
Oh, can you help me?
Esme?
Hmm?
I will not be nice, Esme.
That's okay. Sometimes people aren't nice to me.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, in order to perfect your technique and to protect yourself, I will make sure that you can do as such. I want you to become powerful and to shine brightly.
Okay.
That is what I mean.
Then sure.
Okay. I'm going to the track to run. I feel like I need to stretch and just relax a bit. And the best way of relaxing is just by running and having thoughts to myself.
Okay. I don't know what to do.
I'm kind of bored.
I found a book.
I could read that book.
Yeah. Sure, let's go.
You want to read in the library or where?
Well, I don't think we can take the books out of here in this kind of weather.
That's a good idea. It's good.
Seems kind of unsafe for the books.
Okay. She's quiet today.
Rook should still be there too.
Mm-hmm.
You think Rook stays there?
Yeah. Oh, there he is. He was gonna wait for me to get back. I went to look for you all.
Oh. Arbor, I left the book on the table. I'm gonna head in.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Bye.
It's over here.
Oh, okay.
Did we want to go and sit somewhere else, or might get noisy by the front door?
Good point. What about our old
Maybe
spot
in
we were at
the
earlier?
other spot. Yeah.
Sure.
Go there.
Here, I'll just stand and read. Okay. Like I said before, it's called One True Love by Melinda Lowe. It's never lucky for a child to kill her mother in the course of her own birth. Perhaps for this reason, the soothsayer who attended the naming ceremony for Princess Eslet was not a celebrated one. Hades had barely finished his own apprenticeship when the summons came. He knew that delivering the prophecy for this princess was a thankless job, because no soothsayer in his right mind would attempt to foretell the life of a child born out of death. His mentor and former teacher told him to sugarcoat the prophecy as much as possible. "She's unimportant in the grand scheme of things," said Gerlach. "The King Radek needs a son. He'll find a new bride soon enough, and the princess will simply be married off when she's older." He gave Hades a sharp glance. Make sure your prophecy sounds true enough, but remember that the king doesn't need the truth. He only needs a benediction. So Hades went to the naming ceremony, prepared to omit any problematic details from the prophecy he would deliver. He planned to stop by the soothsayer's temple afterwards, to make an offering to the god of prophecy, to counteract what bad luck he might acquire from being in such close proximity to the princess. It was a small ceremony, as Hades expected, and the king himself seemed a little bored, his mind likely focused on his next journey to the war front rather than the baby he held in the arms of the nursemaid nearby. The children wouldn't stop crying. The child wouldn't stop crying, sorry. Her voice, a thin, angry wail that echoed in the cold, stony throne room. When Hades approached her with the water of prophecy and the scepter of truth, she screamed even louder, her mouth stretched open in a tiny O of frustration, her eyes screwed shut. She had wisps of reddish hair on her scalp, and her cheeks were ruddy. He wondered if she would ever grow into a beauty. Her mother, the late Queen Linda, had been known for her inheritance, not her looks. King Radek barked. Get on with it before the girl makes us all deaf. Apologies, Your Majesty, Hades said. He lifted the pewter bowl containing the water of prophecy and dipped his fingers in it, dampening the girl's forehead and cheeks with the liquid. Her squalls stopped, as if she was shocked by his touch, and she opened her eyes. They were a vibrant green, as vivid as springtime in the woods outside the castle, and Hades was startled by her, as she seemed to be by him. She might not become a beauty, he thought, but those eyes were certainly a marvel. He picked up the scepter of truth and held it over the princess as he began the incantation that would bring him into a trance-like state required to foretell her future. He didn't expect to fall deeply into a trance. He was too aware of the king glaring at him, not to mention the princess's luminous green eyes. He kept his own eyes half open, so he saw the movement when the girl reached up with her baby fingers and wrapped them around the scepter itself. This was unusual, and Hades knew it. He knew it because the scepter changed into a living thing at the princess's touch, and he had to hang on to it with all his might to prevent it from flying out of his hands. His eyes widened, but he did not see the nurse's astonished expression, or the way the king sat up in surprise. He saw, instead, the princess's future, and this vision would remain with him for the rest of his life, for it was the first time he had seen true, and he could not resist speaking it wholly, without his mentor's suggestion of sugarcoating what he saw. The princess shall grow into a young woman, strong and pure, Hades intoned. But when she finds her one true love, the nursemaid standing in the corner of the room giggled, she shall be the downfall of the king. The attendants and guests erupted into shocked whispers. Hades' vision cleared with a snap, and he saw the baby princess Eslid, gazing up at him with what appeared to be a smile on her face. Terror filled him as he realized what he had said. He pulled the scepter of truth away from the princess. As it had left her hands, it became ordinary again. Behind him, the king roared, "Take this abomination away! She shall never be the downfall of me. Take her away or I will have her killed, and she will join her mother in the grave." The nursemaid clutched Princess Eslid to her breast and fled. Hades swayed on his feet as he wondered if he had sentenced the baby girl to her death with his careless speaking of the truth. It was the king's most trusted advisor who devised a solution to the problem of Princess Elisit's prophecy. "We shall simply never allow the princess to find her true love," he told the king, "and so your safety will be assured." Of course, the advisor had ulterior motives. He believed the princess might be one day useful politically, but he kept that to himself, and the king consented to his plan. From that day forward, Princess Elsit was restricted to the castle's west tower under the supervision of her nursemaid, Auda, and as was not allowed to see any man except for her father. He visited her rarely, as he had little desire to see the cause of his prophesied doom. The few times he did visit, he glared down at the princess and demanded, "Are you being an obedient little girl?" She shrank away from him at first, running back to Auda, who would turn her around forcefully and whisper in her ear, "This is your father, the king of Anvara, and you are his daughter, a princess, and you must behave as such." As the years passed, Elsit learned to bow to her father, and she came to see him as a sort of duty, one that she had inherited by birth, but not one that she enjoyed. She knew that he did not particularly like her, but she did not know why, for Auda kept the prophecy that had relegated her to the West Tower a secret. Auda was a skilled and loving nursemaid, and she took her job seriously. She knew that the only way Elsit would be content in the tower was if she thought her life was entirely normal. For several years, Auda was quite successful, for she made the West Tower into everything a little girl could wish for. When Elsit wanted new dolls, Auda ordered them. When she asked for playmates, Auda invited the princess's young female cousins to visit. When she yearned for a pony, Auda convinced the king to deliver one to the gardens adjacent to the West Tower. She even arranged for a female riding instructor to teach Elsit how to ride. Whenever Elsit voiced questions about why she couldn't go through the heavily carved oak door in the hall, Auda said, "We must keep you safe, for you are the princess of Anvara, and you must be protected." The only times Elsit left the West Tower were on the occasions of her father's weddings, for it was deemed too unseemly for the princess to remain unlocked away on such an important day. For those events, Elsit was dressed in veils from head to toe, so that no one could see her face. The veils also had the unfortunate, or perhaps intentional, side effect of rendering her mostly blind, so she had to hold out his hand the entire time. That meant that Elsit's experience of the greater castle was confined to carefully study the floor, glimpsed in flashes through the gap at the bottom of the veils. During Elsit's childhood, King Radek married several times, for his wives had a trembling tendency to die. Elsit's mother, of course, had died in childbed, as did the king's second wife. His third wife bore 2 stillborn children. Sons, the king noted in despair, before succumbing to a fever. After that, several years passed before the king decided to marry again. Some believed that he worried that he was cursed, but others noted that he was merely distracted by a new war that had broken out between Anvara and its eastern neighbor, the kingdom of Drasek. This war went on season after season, and Elsit passed on her 13th birthday and 14th and 15th birthdays as well, with her father away at battle, and no new bridge on the castle threshold to draw her out of the West Tower. As Elsit grew older, she became increasingly curious about the court, and her father, and why he did not return, except once or twice a year. And Auda reluctantly began to answer her questions. In this way, Elsit learned that King Radek had sought an alliance with the island nation Nawarlal. which had once been invaded by Drassic, but had successfully driven them out through an ingenious use of poison-tipped arrows that spread plague through the Drassic soldiers. In Elsit's 17th year, Anvara and Narwala fought and won a decisive battle against Drassic. In celebration of victory, the King Narwala gave his 17-year-old daughter, Sadia, to King Radek in marriage to further cement their alliance. Sadia, like all Narwalia people, had brown skin and black hair, with eyes the color of rich, dark soil. The first time Radek saw her, in a tent on the side of the road after the last battle, he felt lust stir within him, for he had never seen a girl as beautiful and exotic as she. The king saw the way his attendants looked at her, too. The black jealousy rose within him, even thicker than his lust. He ordered that Sadia be taken away immediately to the West Tower, and locked inside until their wedding, which would take place exactly on 1 fortnight. Sadia did not understand what he said, for she had not learned the Avaran language. She only knew that the king's voice was courteous and greedy. And when he lifted her chin with his hand, she could almost smell the desire on his breath. It took all her years of royal training not to spit in his face, and she prayed to her gods that something would come to deliver her from this marriage. On the day of Sadia's arrival, Elsit was poring over history books in the West Tower's small library when she heard the heavy oaken doors in the entry hall flung open. Startled, she ran out on the balcony overlooking the hall and saw a stream of women in strange, colorful clothes entering the tower, bearing a series of curious objects: wooden trunks carved with unfamiliar animals, a golden cage containing a bird with brilliant purple and green feathers, cushions the color of sunsets. Amid all this movement, Elsit saw one girl standing stock still in the corner, her arms crossed around herself protectively. She was wrapped from head to foot in azure scarves, with only her eyes peering out. Auda came running into the hall, demanding to know what was going on, and a woman in a plain blue dress detached herself from the entourage of attendants to speak to Auda in low, intense tones. Elsit came down the stairs. She was drawn to the silent girl in the corner, who looked up at that movement and saw her. A shiver ran down Elsit's spine. Quicksilver, insistent, go to her. As Elsit approached, the girl unwound the veils from her face to reveal brown skin, full lips, and dark eyes, a beauty unlike that of any Avaran woman. This girl took a step away from her corner and extended her hands, palms up, towards Elsit. In the center of her palms, a design was painted, swirls and loops that connected to form a pattern that was like a flower, but no flower that Elsit knew. Instinctively, Elsit reached out and covered the girl's hands with her own, paler ones, and when their skin touched, a tremor went through Elsit's body. For the first time, she became wholly aware of the way her fingers and toes were connected to the pulsing of her heart, to the breath that fluttered from her lungs to her lips, to the heat that spread over her cheeks. Behind her, Auda said in a strained tone of voice, "Your Highness, this is Princess Stadia of Narwala." There was another round of feverish whispers between Auda and Sadia's chief attendant, who spoke Avaran, with an accent that Auda had never heard before, and thus found it difficult to understand. "Sadia?" Elsit said uncertainly. "Sadia," the girl corrected, and her name sounded like music on her lips. Sadia's chief attendant said something to her Nawalia, and Elsit heard her own name amidst the stream of foreign words. Eselt, said Sadia. Sadia said tentatively, her gaze never leaving Eslit's. Eslit's heartbeat quickened, and she realized that Sadia had wrapped her fingers around her own, and it was as if a faint dusting of magic had settled over them, fixing them together in place, that they might look at one another for just a bit longer. It was Auda who broke the spell. Your Highness, she said, Princess Sadia will be staying here in the West Tower until your father returns in 10 days. Then they will be married. The princess will be your new stepmother. My new stepmother, Elset said, and she saw Sadia's attendant whisper something urgently into her ear. Sadia pulled her hands away. She knew that her attendants were shocked by how Eslet had touched her and how she had accepted it. The proper greeting would have been for Elsa to hover her hands over Sadia's, and then to incline her head so ever delicately. But of course, Eslet did not know Nawalia's customs. Her mistake could be excused. But what had caused Sadia to hold Elset's hands, as if she were a lover rather than a stranger who would someday become her stepdaughter? Sadia's face flamed as she realized what a scene she was making. Eslet did not understand how she had erred, but she saw Sadia was uncomfortable, and she regretted it, for already she wanted to ensure that Sadia was happy. Welcome, she said, but then her mouth went dry. She could think of nothing more to say except, You are so beautiful. But Eslet, unpracticed in courtly manners, sensed that others would find that odd, so she bit her lip and remained silent. But that was enough, and Sadia smiled, and her face was so exquisitely shining that Eslet was certain that another sun had burned into being right there in the entry hall to the West Tower. From that moment on, Eslet and Sadia were inseparable. Eslet taught Sadia the words for the flowers and plants that grew in the West Tower's garden, and Sadia taught Eslet the Narwhali equivalents. Their progress was remarkably fast, for they spent every waking moment together, exclaiming over the sounds of words and the ways sentences formed when they spoke them to each other. Eslet learned that Narwhal was a kingdom of many islands, and each island was named after a different tropical flower, and each flower was worn by the prince of that island on state occasions. Sadia learned that summer was short and hot in Avara, and she had arrived at its beginning, when the days are long and lush, and sometimes so humid that sitting in the shade brought sweat to the skin. Eslet learned that the women of Narwhal wore long, loose skirts dyed in shades to match their island's flowers, and they preferred to leave their arms bare, finding only their breasts in scarves that matched their skirts. Sadia learned that the women of Avara wore layers of undergarments between the heavy skirts and in bodices that gripped their torsos with whalebone, and she wrinkled her nose at these gowns and said, I will not wear those, and Eslet laughed at the expression on Sadia's face. The days they spent together seemed to stretch out luxuriously in the peaceful isolation of the West Tower. But a fortnight grew to a close. Neither girl could avoid the increasing sensation of impending doom, for soon Sadia would marry Eslet's father. The night before the wedding, they walked the garden together in silence, as if not speaking would stave off the future. When they parted to sleep in the separate chambers, Eslet held out her hands, palms upward, in the way Sadia had upon arrival. Sadia was surprised, but she hovered her hands over Eslet's unmarked ones. A bittersweet sadness sweeping through her. Then, as if she were a knight in a storybook, Eslit raised Sadia's hands to her mouth and kissed the knuckles, her lips brushing soft and quick over Sadia's skin. A flush spread over Sadia's face, and she saw an answering emotion in Eslit's green eyes. "Sleep well," Eslit whispered, and she wished she could sleep beside Sadia and guard her against any nightmares that might slip into her mind that night. "A blessing upon you," Sadia said, in Nawarlia, and they backed away before the tears could slip from her eyes. Eslit watched her go, her scarves fluttering in the dim evening light. The wedding was held in the castle's great hall, which was hung with golden ropes in honor of the god of matrimony, and wreaths of snowbell flowers for the goddess of fertility. The morning before the ceremony, which was to take place at noon, Sadia's attendants bathed and scented and dressed her in the Narwhali bridal linenry that they had brought with them. They wrapped her body in fine white linen, and then draped her with scarves the color of the sea, in every shade from deepest blue to azure and aquamarine. They hung jewels from her ears and twisted them around her bare arms. And when she stepped into the sunlight, she glittered with a reflected light. Her lustrous black hair was brushed out and woven with the tight white flowers plucked from the gardens around the West Tower. And though they were not tropical blossoms of Nawala, they served well enough. Eslit especially liked to see the flowers she had loved in Sadia's hair. Auda had taken care while dressing Eslit that morning, Auda had taken care while dressing Eslit that morning, as well. Though Eslit's gown was much plainer, so that she would not outshine the bride, and so that she would not draw any man's eye. Eslit did not like the way the Eslit did not like the way the tight strays cut off her breath. She found the layers of skirts confining, and she thought the dove gray of the gown itself was ugly in comparison to the brilliant colors of Sadia's clothes. But the thing she hated the most was the linen gray veil she was forced to wear, obscuring her hair and face, swathing the whole world in dimness. As they left the West Tower, Eslit followed in Sadia's perfumed wake, with Auda's guiding hand on her arm. She felt suffocated and suppressed, each layer of clothing like a hand over her mouth. In every Avaran wedding ceremony, a series of customs is dutifully followed in order to ensure that the union is a fertile one. As with every naming ceremony, a prophecy is given, and chosen to deliver the prophecy at a royal wedding is a high honor. Hades, the hapless soothsayer who had presided over Elsit's naming ceremony, was present at King Radek's marriage to Princess Sadia of Narwhal. But Hades had not been chosen to officiate. He came as a guest of his mentor, Gerlach, who was prepared to deliver a prophetic benediction on the king's marriage to the exotic foreign princess, if he had to lie to do it. The wedding prophecy, however, would not take place until after the initial prayers to the god of matrimony and the goddess of fertility. Led by a high-ranking priest, who intoned the traditional phrase in a voice devoid of emotion, Sadia was expected to kneel on a cushion at the feet of King Radek during the prayers, and though she did as requested, she refused to lower her gaze, for she did not believe in these gods. To her right, seated the first row of an ornate wooden benches, she could just make out in the corner of Eslit's veil, shroud-like in comparison to the bright colors worn by Sadia and her attendants. So, out of character, I need a drink. I'm dying. I need water.
Mwah.
Esla did not need to bow her head, for no one could tell if she had participated in the prayers at all. Instead, she clenched her hands into fists and hid them beneath the voluminous folds of her hot, scratchy gown. A deep ache began to spread in her, from belly to chest to throat, until she felt as though she might choke from it. She heard the priest ending his series of prayers, and she knew that after this would come the ceremony itself, when Sadia's hands would be bound with the golden rope to the king's left wrist, and from that moment on, Sadia would be her stepmother. Elsit watched through the veil as the priest picked up the rope and approached Sadia, still chanting the blessing for matrimony. The rope dangled over Sadia's head like a snake uncoiling to strike. The ache that gripped Elsit hardened. A desperate anger galvanized her. She lurched to her feet and felt Auda's hand reach for hers, but she shook it away. She ripped off her veil and cried, "No, please, no, Sadia, you must not marry him." Eslit lunged for the rope and tore it out of the priest's hands, throwing it behind him onto the stone floor. Sadia stood, astonished and terrified, unhopeful. At first, everyone in the great hall was simply too startled to move, for none could remember a time when a royal wedding had been disrupted in such a manner. In that moment of stunned immobility, Eslit took Sadia's hands in hers and pulled her away from the king. Sadia said in Narwalia, "You are mad, my love," and Eslit responded in the same tongue, "I am mad with love." Hadis had watched in shock from his seat as Eslit leapt to her feet, jerking away the marriage rope. As she clutched the hands of the foreign bride, Hadis realized that the prophecy he had delivered on Eslit's naming day was coming to pass. He stood up. He was the first in the audience to do so, and said under his breath, "The princess shall grow into a young woman strong and pure, but when she finds her one true love." Gerlach's hand gripped his arm. "Do not speak any more," he hissed, and Hadis's mouth shut tight in fear as the great hall exploded into shouts. King Radek's thick, strong hand clamped down on his bride's shoulder, and Sadia winced in pain. He dragged her away from his daughter. "What perversity have you wrought on my bride?" he demanded of Elsit, who tried to reach for Sadia again, but was wrenched back by the hands of the king's soldiers, who had leapt forward at his command. "What damnation are you bringing upon my kingdom? You have been cursed since you killed your own mother, and it was only my mercy that kept you alive." The king would not take his hands off Sadia, whom he held near him like a plaything. He growled to his soldiers, "Take Elsit away from the farthest reaches of the darkest forest to the north, and abandon her to the wolves. She is no longer my daughter. She may die alone." Eslit heard the words as it was from a distance, for all she could focus on was the look of terror on Sadia's face as the soldiers dragged Eslit away from the great hall. She tried to struggle, but her skirts were too heavy and her bodice too tight, and someone struck her across the face. Pain burst in her cheek and nose. She screamed and lunged away from the soldiers, but they grabbed her and hit her again and again. The last thing she saw before she fainted away from the pain was the glimmer of blue in the jewels around Sadia's neck, liquid as a faraway sea. Hi. Sorry.
Continue.
Eslit awoke in a cage on a moving wagon. She winced as the wagon jolted over a bump and caused her hip to bang against the wooden floor. Outside the bars, she saw green fields rolling past beneath a clear lake afternoon sky. She was outside the castle. This fact alone overwhelmed her. She had never been outside the castle, and her heart began to race as she sat up, hands gripping the bars. She drank in the unfamiliar landscape, stone walls rising and falling over the fields, solitary trees standing watch in the distance, an occasional farmhouse or barn, with horses grazing nearby. It was almost dark before she realized that a man was riding behind the cage, watching her. A soldier. She shrank away from the bars, and everything that had happened rushed back to her. Sadia and her father's wedding, the marriage rope hanging like a noose above Sadia's head, and her father's word, "May she die alone." As the sun set, she wondered whether it was still the day of the wedding. Was this the wedding night? Her stomach twisted. When she had first begun her monthly bleeding, Auda had told her what it meant, and Elsat knew very well what her father desired from his wives' sons. There was a chance that her father had not gone through with the wedding, but the way he had treated Sadia made Elsat doubt that he would give her up. No, he would take Sadia to as his bride, regardless of how perverse he thought his daughter was. Eslit wanted to throw up, but she hadn't eaten all day, and she could only cough up bile, bitter and acidic. The soldier behind the cage rode closer and banged his sword on the bars. "Don't choke to death, princess. We've come a long way to go yet." The journey to the wild forests of the north took a week. There were 2 soldiers, one who drove the wagon, and one who rode behind. They gave her a bowl of water every night that she had to lap up like a dog, and once or twice the driver slipped her a piece of dried beef out of pity, but she was given no other food. Neither of the soldiers ever let her out, so Elsit was forced to relieve herself in one corner, humiliated by the stench that began to rise from her body. She watched the countryside when she was awake, but as the days passed, she grew weaker. She slid into a half-sleeping doze, a doze in which she saw Sadia's face hovering over her, radiant and beautiful. She clung to those visions as tightly as she could, the memory of the last words that Sadia had said echoing in her mind. "You are mad, my love. Mad, my love. Mad." Finally, they reached the pine forest's border of Avara. The driver drew the wagon to a halt in a small clearing in the woods and climbed down from his seat. The soldier riding behind dismounted, pulling a black iron key from the chain attached to his sword belt. Inside the cage, Eslit sat stiffly with her arms around her knees, her bright green eyes wide in her pale face. The soldier unlocked the cage door, which groaned on its hinges. "Welcome to your new home," he said, and laughed. "Time to get out." Eslit didn't move until the soldier reached inside and clamped one hand on her ankle. Frightened, she kicked him in the face. He cursed as blood splurted from his nose, then grabbed both of her ankles, nails digging into her skin, and dragged her out until she landed with a bruising thump on the ground. "Never seen a man except your father, eh?" he said, and the tone in his voice made her skin crawl. He began to unbuckle his belt. Eslit tried to scramble away, but she only banged into the wagon wheel behind her. "There's a reason you turned out wrong," the soldier said, a horrible grin on his face. "You need to learn what's right." "Shut up," said the driver. He smashed a wooden staff into the side of the soldier's head. knocking him to the ground unconscious. The driver shook his head and looked down at the princess. He had a sister in her age, and he would never forgive himself if he let the soldier have his way with her, even if she was perverse. He jerked her head towards the wood. You'd better run for it, princess. You're on your own now. Eslet didn't hesitate. She jumped up, her legs tingling as she stood for the first time in 7 days, and she fled. She ran over the unbroken forest ground, her thin-soled court shoes doing little to cushion her feet from the fallen twigs and upturned stone. She ran as the daylight faded and turned the forest into a land of murky shadows, and she slowed down only enough to prevent herself from tripping on the uneven ground. She found a riverbed where the trees parted to reveal a silver-black night sky strewn with stars, and she knelt down and drank the water from her cupped and dirtied hands, and then she kept going. At some point, she removed her whalebone corset so that she could breathe more freely. She stripped off her encumbering underskirts and wrapped her torn shoes in the cloth to cushion her feet. When she was too tired to walk any further, she made a nest for herself in a bed of fallen pine needles and slept with her head resting on her arms. When she awoke, she continued. She saw no one. She was hungry, but she did not know what she could eat in the forest, and her book learning had taught her to be wary of unfamiliar plants. A few times she thought she glimpsed the shadowy movements of wolves nearby, and she prayed to the god of safe passage to watch over her. She did not know where she was going, but she knew she had a destination. With every step she took, even though her body felt weaker and weaker, she was more and more certain that she had something to live for. Sadia. Sadia. Someday, she vowed, she would go back for her. She would return to Anvara City, and save her, and King Radek would pay for what he had done. One morning, after Elsit had walked in a stubborn, starving daze for hours through the dark night, she stumbled through the last of the pine trees into a clearing where she saw a little cottage built of logs. Smoke curled out of the chimney, and the windows were hung with cheerful plaid curtains. She dragged herself the last few steps into the clearing before she collapsed, her body giving up at last. The cottage belonged to a retired knight named Bowen, who lived there with his wife, Nell. It was Nell who discovered Elsit later that morning, lying in a crumpled heap at the edge of their garden, and it was Bowen who lifted the princess in his burly arms and carried her inside, laying her down on the bed. Elsit did not wake until evening, and the first thing she saw was an older woman rocking in a chair nearby, knitting. Elsit was not frightened, for the woman had a kind face and reminded her of Auda. But she was disoriented, and she pushed herself up and asked, "Where am I?" Nell put down her knitting and studied the girl, whose eyes were a remarkable shade of green. Her reddish gold hair was disheveled and knotted up, and her face was dirty. In fact, all of hers was so dirty that she smelled rather unpleasant, but neither Nell nor Bowen would turn away a girl who was so obviously in need of their help, simply because she also needed a bath. "You're in the village of Pine Rest," Nell told her, speaking with an unfamiliar accent. "I found you in our garden this morning. I am Nell, and my husband's name is Bowen. He is outside. What is your name?" Eslet stared at the woman, whose gray hair was wound up in braids coiled at the nape of her neck. She seemed kind, and Eslet wanted to trust her, but a knot of fear still held tight within her, and she did not wish to reveal her true identity. "My name is Auda," Eslit cried. She was flushed slightly by her lie. Nell nodded. "You must be hungry." Eslit's stomach awoke at those words and growled so loudly that it embarrassed her. But Nell only smiled and got up from her chair. She left the little room and came back a few minutes later with a bowl of soup. "Something gentle for you," she said, "while you regain your strength." Eslit took the bowl from Nell's outstretched hands and inhaled the fragrant scent of broth and herbs. She drank every last delicious drop, and then lay down again in Nell and Bowen's bed and fell asleep instantly, feeling safe at last. In the morning, she met Bowen, who was large and gentle, and had lost all his hair except for the bushy white eyebrows that seemed to speak long sentences on their own. She learned that the village of Pine Rest was just over the border from Anvara, in the neighboring kingdom of Feronia. Eslit remembered from Auda's geography lessons that Feronia was rarely concerned with Avaran politics because of the black forest that separated the two countries. And this Eslit could now attest to personally, having crossed it herself on foot. Bowen had been a knight, serving in the kingdom of Feronia, but after many years of service he had retired to the village where he had been born. Bowen and Nell's son, Petra, was a swordsmith, whose forge was in Pine Rest, and Petra drew much of his business from Bowen's old knightly acquaintances. As the days passed, Eslit regained her strength, while Bowen and Nell fussed over her, as if she were their long-lost daughter. They set up a pallet for her in this loft over the main room of the cottage, and Eslit began to help out with the chores. She grew strong from tending the garden with Nell and learned how to chop wood with Bowen's hatchet. And though she came to know the other villagers and to love Bowen and Nell, she kept her secret. Pine Rest might have been far away from Anvara City, but the news of Princess Elsit's depravity had reached Feronia via traveling minstrels who sang of her tragic lust for the queen. Eslit worried that Bowen and Nell would turn their backs on her in disgust if they knew who she was, so she grew accustomed to being called Auda. And she swallowed her own feelings of shame and sorrow. Every night before she slept, she whispered Sadia's name to herself so that she might never forget how to pronounce it. She spoke with Petra, who had traveled to Anvara because of his skill as a swordsmith, and began to plot her own return journey. She laid aside a store of food, stealing as little as she could. From the old trunks in the loft where she slept, she discovered a cloak that was moth-eaten, but could still keep her warm at night. She felt guilty for taking these things from Nell and Bowen, but she promised herself she would return one day and pay them back if she could. She did not let herself think of where she and Sadia might go. Was there a place in this world that would have them? She did not know, and it was easier to accept the emptiness of not knowing than to face the fact that she might rescue Sadia and still fail in giving her a happy life. One morning, she awoke, and her body felt ready. She was strong and healthy again, and she had finally stocked enough provisions to last for the several weeks' journey to Anvara. But when she went outside to pump water as usual, snow was falling from the sky. She stood on the doorstep in shock as white flakes tumbled down, thick and fast, from iron gray clouds. How had the summer passed so quickly? She hoped that the snowfall was an early anomaly, and that it would only delay her journey by a day or two. But the snow continued to fall, and it stuck to the ground, and the air became colder and colder until, weeks later, Eslet had to admit that the winter had come early and hard, and she would not be able to journey to Anvara until spring. It was Nell who found her, weeping silently at the woodpile, her tears turning into ice crystals on her cheek. "My dear," Nell said, "whatever is the matter? Come inside and be warm." That night, exhausted from her subterfuge, Eslet told her the truth. "I am Eslet," she said. Speaking her own name out loud broke a dam inside her, and she sobbed. Nell gathered her into her arms and stroked her hair and rocked her back and forth as if she were a baby. "I am Eslet," she said, again and again. When at last her tears were spent, she told them of growing up in the West Tower, and the unexpected joy that she had felt when she first met Sadia, and the anguish of being forced apart. She told them of her plan to rescue Sadia, and finally, her voice diminished to a tentative whisper, she said, I will leave if you will not have me here any longer. You have been so kind to me, and I have only defiled your house." Bowen had sat silently in the corner as Eslet confessed her truth, but as Nell's hands stilled on Eslet's hair, he said, "It's never a crime to love someone." Eslet looked at him in surprise. Anger darkened Bowen's face. "The king of Anvara is a bastard. In the spring you shall ride to Anvara city and save your true love, and we will help you." But why?" Eslet asked. Nell had drawn back a little, and Eslet saw the tears streak down Nell's face as well. She shook her head. "My dear, we love you like a daughter. That is why." As Eslet looked from Nell to Bowen, she felt as if her heart might overflow with gratitude and love for them. "I have never felt like anyone's daughter," she said, "but I will do my best to make you proud." All winter, Eslet trained with Bowen. "You will need to learn to fight," he said to her, "for the king will not give up his wife without battle." Bowen took down the old tools of his trade from the attic, his broadsword, which was so big that Eslet had to carry it with 2 hands, and his armor, which was now darkened with rust. During the days, he forced her to run through snowdrifts with the sword strapped to her back, until sweat streamed down her face. At night, she helped him polish the armor until it gleamed. It was too large for her, but Bowen said that Petra could adjust it to her size. And so she began to visit Petra at the forge, where she fitted various pieces of steel to her, muttering under his breath about fashioning a special breastplate. Eslet could not understand why Petra was willing to do this for her. She knew that he knew who she was now, for he called her Eslet instead of Auda. She thought perhaps he was simply his father's son, and he would not speak out against anyone his father loved. It wasn't until well past midwinter when she noticed the way Petra spoke to the blacksmith who shared the forge with him, Marcus, a broad-shouldered, black-bearded man who sometimes came to supper at Nell and Bowen's home. There was a certain angle to Petra's body as he approached Marcus, and then Eslet saw him reach out and smooth his hand gently over the man's shoulder. A caress. Eslet realized with a jolt that Petra did not merely share the forge with the smith. She shared a life with him. She felt a great sense of wonder steal over her, and she had to turn away as tears came to her eyes. From that day on, she felt as if she had finally found her family. She would hate to leave them in the spring, but she could come back. She knew she could come back with Sadia, and they would be happy there. Petra finished the full suit of armor in late winter. It was light and well balanced, but when Eslet put it on, she felt the strength of the steel close against her muscles, and she knew that it would protect her. To her surprise, Petra also presented her with a sword, more specifically for her height and weight, and the first time she swung it in an arc, it sang in the cold winter air. She spent the last months of winter parrying with Bowen and sometimes with Marcus, who had been a knight squire in his boyhood. She learned how to ride a horse in full armor, her red gold hair braided and coiled beneath her helm. She learned how to force back a man twice her size with her sleek, elegant sword, her gauntleted hands gripping the beautiful hilt that Petra had designed. And she thought of Sadia, as she always did, keeping her face alive in her memory, as fresh as the first day she had seen her, standing behind the oak door to the west tower, swathed in azure scarves. The news came before she was entirely ready to go, but as soon as she heard it from the mouth of the traveling minstrel at the tavern in Pine's Rest, Eslet left to pack her supplies. The Avaran king had discovered that his island-born wife had been drinking a concoction that she had brought from Narwala to prevent herself from conceiving a child. This, King Radek said, was treason. He sentenced Sadia to die by beheading on the first day of summer, which gave his people time to travel from their villages to witness her public execution. When this news reached Pine's Rest, the last of the winter snow had barely melted, even though the first day of summer was less than 1 month away. Eslet decided to ride directly through the Black Forest to Anvara instead of following the highway south. It was dangerous, but it would cut 2 weeks from her journey. "There are wolves," objected Nell, worried. "They didn't kill me before," Eslet said. "It won't kill me now." Bowen and Petra wanted to go with her, but she refused to allow them to come. "It is my task, and my choice," she said. They relented, for they saw the determination in her eyes. She departed at dawn, riding Marcus's white mare, a horse he insisted she take, with saddlebags full of food that Nell had prepared. The forest was quiet as she rode south, with only the sound of her horse's passage to accompany her. Petra's armor sat lightly on her shoulders, and already she was so familiar with her sword that when she slept, she rested her hands upon it. She did not feel threatened by the wolves she glimpsed sometimes at night, their eyes reflecting the light from her campfire. They saw her weapons, and left her alone. She emerged from the Black Forest 2 weeks later, and struck out on the hard-packed dirt road that led southeast towards the Anvaran city. At first she was alone on the highway, but as she drew closer to the Anvaran city, other travelers joined her, all on their way to the execution. At night, she camped as far from the other travelers as she could. She kept her armor covered with her long brown cloak, and she did not remove her helm in the daylight. She could not reveal who she was, for the Princess Eslet was supposed to be dead. She arrived on the eve of the execution, and though she could have ridden into the city and bought herself a room at the inn, she could not bring herself to pass through the gates. In the distance she saw the West Tower, her old home, and now she recognized it as a prison. She wondered what had happened to Auda, and her gut wrenched, for though Auda had always maintained a certain formal distance from her, she was the one who had raised her. All night, Eslet lay awake beneath the spreading oak tree on the side of the highway, watching the silhouette of the castle on the hill. When dawn broke, Eslet was already mounted on her horse and waiting outside the city gates. Hundreds of other people surged around her, eager to view the death of the traitorous foreign queen. Their jubilation made Eslet sick with rage, and her fingers trembled as she curled them into fists at her thighs. A stage had been erected on the northern edge of the central square, and on that stage the executioner's block was awaiting. Eslet rode into the square, surrounded by the crowd and unnoticed by the soldiers who stood guard at their perimeter. She found a place near the stage, behind a fountain that shot cool water up into the warm summer morning. The scent of snowbell blossoms hung thick in the air, sweet and cloying. The people in the square chattered about the coming event, and Eslet paid no attention to them. Her entire body was tense and alert, her heart beating a war drum in her chest. She could sense Sadia approaching, as if they were connected, flesh and bone drawn together. And when the murmur of the crowd crescendoed, she looked to the north and saw the king riding into the square on a black stallion. It was flanked by the soldiers and followed by a wagon with a cage strapped onto it. It was the same cage that Eslet herself had been locked into. Within the cage, Sadia was seated with her hands bound behind her back. The crowd exclaimed at its first glimpse of her hair loose and tangled, a rough sackcloth dress draped over her body, her face bruised but defiant. Eslet felt as though an arrow had torn into her belly. She had to suck in the muggy air to calm herself down, for her mare sensed her nerves and began to prance in place. Eslet wanted to rush forward at that very moment and seize Sadia from the soldiers, but she remembered what Bowen had taught her, and she forced herself to wait. She waited as the executioner mounted the stage, his black cowl hiding his face from the crowd, the sun glinting on the blade of his axe. She waited as the king, resplendent in purple robes, joined the executioner. She waited as the cage door was unlocked and Sadia was pulled out, barefoot, onto the cobblestone of the square. She waited as Sadia was hauled onto the stage by two soldiers who bent her arms back at an angle that made Eslet wince to see it. She waited until the king said, "For betraying me, and by extension your people. For dishonoring me, and by extension your people. For murdering before birth my very own children and heirs. For all this, you are sentenced to death." Then, and only then, Eslet threw off her cloak. Her armor shone silver bright in the sun, and her white horse leapt through the crowd that parted before her, their mouths agape in excitement. Everyone on the stage turned to see a knight riding towards them, sword raised in the air. From the margins of the square, the king's soldiers raised their bows and shot, their arrows flying towards the rider. Eslet felt an arrow slam against her back, but Petra's armor held. Then, she was at the edge of the stage, and the archers had to stop shooting, because the soldiers were in their line of sight. She pulled herself onto the stage and met the first soldier with her sword raised. She shoved him back with all her strength, her steel blade screaming against his. The soldier stumbled, startled by her assault, but he had a second to back him up. And then Eslet had to fight two of them. But the soldiers wore standard-issue armor, not nearly as well crafted as hers. She could slice their breastplates off with ease, and beneath that, they weren't even wearing chainmail. No one had expected an attack at the Queen's execution. Eslet disarmed one and slashed open his side. He yelped and fell off the stage into the crowd. The other came at her with his broadsword, but she used the momentum against him and flipped him onto his back, knocking his weapon out of his hands and tipping the point against her sword against his throat. His eyes bulged up at her, and for an instant she hesitated. Was she going to kill a man? But out of the corner of her eye, she saw him pull a dagger from his boot, ready to throw it at her. Before his weapon left her hand, she cut his throat. She looked up and across the stage, her heart pounding, and called, "Sadia!" Sadia had watched the knight beat back the soldiers with a rising sense of hope, and when she heard the voice behind the helm, she knew who it was, and hope exploded into joy. She tried to run to her, but the king grabbed her arm, yanking her back. He shouted, "Who would dare act against me?" Eslit took off her helm. The long braid of her red gold hair fell over her shoulder, and she said, "Father, I dare." The king's face was a mask of fury as he beheld his daughter standing before him. His daughter, who should be dead, and yet alive and breathing. And yet was alive and breathing. Her green eyes glinted like emeralds as she raised a sword against him. And he, unarmed. "Give me a weapon," the king cried. The executioner stepped forward and handed the king his axe. The king swung it in an arc, and Esset met the axe handle with her sword. The thunk of metal meeting wood rang through the square. She jerked the sword back and leapt away as the king advanced, his eyes wild with anger. She parried him again, and this time the handle of the axe broke as the sword cleaved through it, the axe head clattering onto the stage. "A weapon!" the king shouted again. A soldier in the crown tried to shove his way through to give the king his sword, but the crowd, riveted by the spectacle before them, would not let him pass. "I will not kill you unarmed," Eslet called. "Let us go, and you will never see us again." "Never," the king snarled. "You will die. Both of you will die here today." Suddenly, Sadia stepped over the body of the dead soldier and said, "She may not kill you unarmed, but I will." She lunged toward the king and shoved the soldier's dagger into the king's chest, thrusting it straight through the rich purple velvet. And the king fell, howling to the wooden boards of the stage. Sadia stood above him, gasping, her hands bloody, and spit on his face. The crowd roared. Eslet saw the hatred in her father's eyes, swept away by fear and bewilderment, as his hand scrabbled furiously at the dagger. Sadia turned to Eslet, wiping her bloodied hands on the ruins of her dress. Eslet reached for her and crushed her into her arms, and Sadia's body shook against Eslet's armor. All around them the crowd murmured. Those who had been close to the stage had heard Eslet declare who she was, and now they passed that knowledge back across the square, until all who had gathered for Sadia's execution understood that Princess Eslet was not dead. She was alive, and the words of her naming day prophecy were repeated until it became a slow and steady hum. "The princess shall grow into a young woman, strong and pure. But when she finds her one true love, she shall be the downfall of the king." Prophecies, the people said, were not always straightforward. But if they were real, they were true. None who saw the way that Eslet and Sadia held each other that day could deny the strength of their love, but for many years to come they debated whether it was Eslet or Sadia who had been the downfall of the king. No one stopped Eslet and Sadia as they left the city. No soldier lifted a weapon to harm them. No man or woman shouted a curse. They rode as far as they could before stopping to rest their horse. They found a sweet little spring bubbling out of a rocky cleft in a hill near the road and dismounted to allow the mare to drink. Then Eslet took off her armor and Sadia peeled off her soiled dress, and they waded into the water and scrubbed the dried blood and sweat and dirt from their skin. And when they emerged from the spring, naked and wet in the warm evening air, they saw each other as if for the first time. One woman dark and slender, one woman fair and muscular. Eslet wrapped her arms around Sadia's waist and whispered, "You are my one true love." Her fingers found the hollow of Sadia's lower back, her spine like a string of jewels, and she leaned in, pausing to remember this always, and kissed her. And that is the end of the story.
That was great.
That was wonderful.
Wasn't exactly sure what to expect, but I thought it might be
What
nice.
was it called?
It was just called One True Love.
Oh, it's really good. You're a very good storyteller.
Mm-hmm. It was very entertaining.
You should tell more stories sometime. Really good.
Sure, I guess, if people want to hear more.
I enjoyed
in the
that.
meantime, I should probably go put this back.
Probably.
Give it to Melanie.
What? I didn't even understand it the first time. Makes you think I'd understand it a second time.
Go roam around, and I'm probably gonna call it here real soon. So if I don't see you guys later, have a good one.
What was that ending? What does that even mean?
You missed it.
I'm sorry.
It lived happily ever after.
Shut up and stop.
Oh.
Was it really good
Was
story?
there mere? Did they
Sounded like
find
it was a
husbands
story.
or?
Are you going to
I don't know. They just said that they were in love.
No, they ended up together.
Goodbye to a few people, and then yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Like, it doesn't really
Thanks, you
say
too.
exactly what happens, but
They were both naked and wet. They probably
Yeah, that's what happens when you take a bath.
Anyways, I'm gonna go put this back. Sorry.
Got another lewd one?
No, not really.
In love. What part of that is confusing? Everything. What do you mean?
She doesn't know how romance
Really?
works.
That of all things? No, she understands what romance. Does she not understand what romance between a girl and a girl is?
I don't think she's really considered it. She hasn't really explored much.
Huh.
She wants me to teach her. I don't know why.
I think we
She
know
wants
why.
me to teach her about romance?
Yep.
Just get Eldrin in you.
Alright, that was completely unplanned.
Wait, there was a book on Eldrin and Vic?
There's about a high elf and a vampire.
The pilot Ashley.
I can write a new one. But you wrote the first one. No, I didn't write the first one, but I could write like a better version. The lonely, grumpy vampire bites and nibbles on the high elf's necky wecky.
Oh no.
Necky wecky?
Huh?
And you suckle on it.
What?
I was talking about rewriting the book that we first saw.
Oh, yeah, that one.
one that
Maybe
got
you
printed.
could find a different one, though? I'm sure there's plenty of
I was
even better
thinking of
books somewhere
writing
around
it.
here.
Maybe. I'm sorry I wasn't there to be there for the end of the story. I got caught up.
Basically, Princess Eslet, she trained really hard. She found family in the people she was staying with. And more or less, she went back to the kingdom and killed the king and rescued the person she loved. It's kind of a really nice ending.
That's so sweet.
Except for the killing part. I could probably do without the killing the king part. That's a
Ah.
little sad. I mean, he was a bad person, sure.
Maybe he deserved it.
Maybe, I guess.
He might come back and be a spirit. Maybe.
Oh, that's a possibility, yeah.
Like me.
Wait. Does that mean you're like a ghost?
Not really, because I'm not really haunting.
Aren't there like friendly ghosts though?
I don't think.
Not all ghosts have to haunt.
I don't think haunting would have to mean you're bad. Haunting just means that you're just stuck.
Oh.
You're trapped versus being freeform, which is
wait, that means
spirit.
you died.
Like Pickwick, yeah, I died.
Oh.
I'm dead.
Oh. That's sad.
A little, but you
Well,
kind of get used to it.
Well, I guess at the very least I'm glad I got to meet you, even if you died.
It's like having a second chance, so it's not too bad. And I gotta meet all my friends.
Nice.
I think most people head to bed.
Yeah, I know Rook turned in early.
Oh yeah.
I'm kinda tired as is.
I know Ryder went to bed too.
The rain and all the clouds in the sky, it's made it kinda darker out, so I felt a little bit tired, but after reading all that, I'm kinda tired. Like, really tired. So I'll probably go to bed soon.
Should. Get some good rest. There isn't much sunlight, so.
Yeah, hopefully I rest well. I like having blankets.
Also, I did have
really
a thought. I'm not sure this would work, but maybe if you need one day if it's not too sunny out, I can always try using my illusion magic to project a light, so it can help you.
Maybe
it would be like a fake sun, kind of.
That actually might help.
We could try it one day.
I'll try to remember to let Kari know. She said she was gonna help me kind of make sure that I'm able to at least move in the mornings.
That's so nice.
She's wonderful. I'm excited. I hope we get the tank for her to come stay in our room.
That would be nice.
In the meantime, we should probably go look for the others.
Sure. Okay. I'll follow you.
Okay. I think I saw them go upstairs again. Wonder if they're all the way at the top.
I'll be right back.
Oh.
Let's go.
Oh. Guess they were in a hurry.
Hi. What? Wakey wakey?
Nothing.
We should give Victor a nickname.
Why are you picking on Victor? He doesn't do anything.
Doesn't he already have a
Just
nickname from
doesn't-
Professor Willow?
Does?
Oh yeah, Von Doom?
Yeah, that's right. Von Doom. Sounds kind of like a cool name.
Hey, at least he hasn't been here. At least he hasn't
we
been
should
here.
give
He's
you a
good as he doesn't
better
call me Beaker. He's just calling me Busy Buddy.
It's not supposed to be a real name. Kind of like how he calls me Pinky.
Yeah, but that's different.
What?
That's a cute name.
Go
He calls me Beaker and him Von Doom.
Von Doom sounds kind of like a cool name, I guess. Sounds manly.
Look at his little pokey teeth. He has little pokey teeth.
I don't want to be anywhere near his little pokey teeth, thanks. No
No,
offense.
look, I'm exhausted.
Aww. Okay.
Actually, do you even... Interesting question. Do you even have blood? As your spirit. So you're ethereal? In theory? You have?
Might have blood.
You want to check?
I don't know how we check.
You just cut your finger a little bit. Relax, I'm not
have
telling you to Relax, I'm not telling her to stab herself or something.
Do you have a piece of paper?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, paper?
There's blood, there's blood, there's blood, there's blood.
Okay, relax, relax. Darcy. Oh, sorry, right.
Is it gone?
You're fine. Sorry,
Why
didn't
is he
realize.
so far away?
He's a vampire.
Oh.
What does that have to do with anything?
Vampires drink blood.
What?
So that's kind of a snack.
Huh?
You have nothing to
What
worry
if
about.
Why do vampires drink
I thought they
I
drank
don't know. Why do you
tomatoes.
take energy from the heat? Why do I take energy from food? It's just how we're programmed. Well, there's a lot of
I don't
theories,
know
but
why. I don't
to be
even.
honest, it's not worth getting into it.
I don't
Heaps
even know
or
why.
whatever. Exactly. They don't know quite the origins. There's a lot of stories about how that became a thing, but no one's quite sure.
It sustains us.
Don't eat her,
Keeps us from
please.
withering. I'm not going to eat her. Yes.
Does every vampire?
It also
have to?
attracts us.
So,
Do
like,
all
you can smell it
vampires
from really far
drink
away?
blood? Or they have to?
Yep.
Oh.
It's in our
Some sustain
nature.
themselves. Some sustain themselves off animal blood. It depends.
Animal blood is far weaker, though. We need a lot of it. That's why most vampires feed off of humanoids.
That's kind of scary.
Oh.
So, wait, what are you eating here then?
I have a supply.
Oh. That's good then.
When I run out, I will leave. I've got a mission.
Oh. Okay. Well, I learned something new today.
Same. Actually learned several things.
So did
Okay.
I.
How long have you studied fencing?
Since I was a child.
I wonder
Oh,
where
right.
I'd like
Melanie
to train
and
with you.
Mevana went.
18 years.
Yeah, let's go look.
I'd like to train.
Yes. Maybe not now, but eventually.
Oh, there they are.
I think they're having a private conversation.
This is probably a bad place to have a private conversation because people are just gonna walk through here. You guys are fun. We're gonna move somewhere else. Come on. let's go somewhere.
Okay. Aw,
I think I might go to bed.
okay. I'll walk with you.
Okay. Oh, watch out for the book.
I'm glad I got to read today.
Hmm?
I said I'm glad I got to read today.
Yeah, you're really good at storytelling.
You think?
I know.
Oh, that's the first time I've ever read a book to people.
You did a very, very good job.
Thanks.
I think the story was cute.
I liked it. It had a nice ending.
Mm.
Anyways,
Oh, there's Kari.
Oh, where? Oh,
Good night, Kari.
Kari.
Good night.
I'm gonna head to bed too.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Bye.
Night.
Okay. Well, thank you for the story.
Thanks for listening.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Sure. I'm not going anywhere else.
Good. Sleep well.
You too.
Thank you.
It's fun.